Like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show. Weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillars. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media, and you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead, hit that like button because you already know what time it is, and you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've seen other people do it well, but what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this, and it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks. Today we are going to talk about, the marriage hustle. Okay. I thought this was a pretty good show to do after yesterday's show because, there were some concerns that were brought up, and I'm going to do what I can to help certain people with certain concerns. But of course, lessons that needed to be done. Plus, I wanted to get this back on record, y'all. They stopped my channels, but I can still do the shows again. They can't stop me from reproducing the shows. They'll be different. Truth be told, a lot of times they might be better. Because I'm better now than I was then. Improvement every day, y'all. I improve every day. My guests that come up, do some that come on a regular basis, improve every day. Okay, you're going to get better at something you do a lot. It just is what it is. So ain't nothing stopping, y'all. Ain't nothing stopping. We getting it on. We're going to talk about the marriage hustle. But before we get into it, we're going to take a quick moment out to acknowledge some people who help make this thing work greatly. So for everybody who gives views, thank you very much. Appreciate it big time. I'm glad I got a place where you can come listen, learn, enjoy yourself, have fun, whatever it does for you. Even for the haters that hate, hey, I'm glad I gave you a great place to hate on. Real talk. Okay. Shout out to all the people who make comments after the stream because those help with the algorithm. So thank you very much for all who do that. And, and I do try to actually respond to the comments after the stream. It may take me a day or two sometime, but I try to make sure I respond to everything somewhat quickly. Shout out to the people who hit that like button, because y'all, these are important. And if you missed an episode, go back and watch the episode, but make sure you hit that like button when you're watching, because it doesn't make a difference how long the episode has been out. Make sure you hit the like button regardless of time. Okay. And shout out to all the people who hype me up. Okay. Do it whenever possible. But shout out to the people who become financial contributors over here at the Roger Report Live, because they allow me to do stuff in ways that I wouldn't be able to do without them. So shout out to everyone who becomes financial contributors to the channel. Appreciate it. And I'm going to give a big special shout out to Struggling Brother, y'all. Shout out to Struggling Brother. Now, I like his name, y'all. That name amuses me, because anybody who can look as dapper as he does in his photo and then call himself Struggling Brother. The one thing I know ain't going on is that brother struggling. I know that ain't going on. He calls himself Struggling Brother, but I tend to believe that brother's doing everything but struggling. But shout out to that man. Appreciate it. And let me give some shout out to some of the first people to check in this morning, because it's always good that when you start the show, that you look down and you see people chiming in as you getting ready to go in. And shout out to my main man, the righteous teacher. Appreciate you big time, my brother. Appreciate you big time. And he is what we like to call the Highlander of today's stream. There can only be one. And today that one is the righteous teacher. Shout out to you for being here, my brother. Shout out to you for being here. Appreciate you being the first one in the camp. And I know some people may say, well, I put my name in there before he did. Hey, y'all, I don't control how the system works. If you come too early, it ain't going to work out. But if you come too late, it ain't going to work out. You got to learn how to thread that needle. You got to learn to thread that needle. It is what it is. I can't help you with that. But shout out to my main man, Chef Mike's Roundtable, who's coming through right behind the righteous teacher. Great to have you here, brother. Great to have you here. Shout out to Floyd Thompson. Good to have you in the building, my brother. Yay. We got Tunnel Runner in the house. Done pulled up a seat to the cool table. Glad to have you. Boot Camp is here sitting across the table. Glad to have you, brother. Winston Tokohisa is in the building. Great to see you. Devon Townsend is here. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. We got my main man, Trail Bentley, representing. Hashtag Long Live the Habitual Line Steppers. Hashtag Negroes in the Wilderness. Hashtag Dignity Over Vagina. Hashtag Al Gore's Babies. And my personal favorite, hashtag Hell Hydra. Shout out to Nice Sometimes. Appreciate his name too, y'all. I can't say how much I appreciate his name, y'all. He is nice sometimes. And that's the way you got to be around here, y'all. That's the way you got to be. Shout out to All Hail Barlamuccio. Okay, I hope I'm saying that right. All Hail Barlamuccio. Good to have you in the building. Good to have you. Revelator, the spirit of indifference is here. My main man, Giogami, is here. Glad to have you, brother. All my hoes demonetized is in the building. Great to see you. Capri 10 is here. Glad to have you. Randall Robinson checks in. Shark Sims is also in the building. So we got a great amount of folks, y'all. We about to run this. This gonna be a good one. As y'all may have seen, I did put a link in the description. And if you're new to the Roger Report Live, even though I've been doing this stuff for years, I lost a channel with two. But what I will do, sometimes I put links in the description. And I want y'all to check before the show starts to make sure that you saw the link that was necessary, so you'll understand what we're referencing to in the show. Okay, so there was a link in the description. We got, I don't know, like maybe some radio hosts or something talking about something, and they trying to set people up for the marriage hustle. Okay, they trying to set people up for the marriage hustle. Now, I understand some people can have certain thoughts towards marriage. And I'm going to tell y'all plain and simple, marriage was never a bad thing. The only problem with marriage is sometimes the people that gets involved in the marriage. It ain't marriage itself. It's the people in the marriage. Okay. Sometimes we walk into a situation where somebody's trying to hustle us and we let it go. Okay. We let it go. And I'm going to say these folks were discussing something. It looks like a host said some things. Okay. Woman listened to the host. She go home to her husband. She started talking about what the host talking about. Okay. And now she feel some type of way because they talking about marriage and what should be in this person's name and what should be in that person's name. And I'm gonna say a lot of black men, we don't stand up to certain things because we've been trained to be afraid of black women. And I'm pretty sure that's why a lot of us will cave when it comes to what a woman wants. Now, I don't want y'all to ever take anything I said as you're not supposed to like women, you're supposed to hate women, or you know, you're not supposed to truly care about some woman that you're going to deal with, because if she ain't worth caring about, you shouldn't be bothered. You shouldn't bother yourself to be with her in the first place. If she's not worth caring about, you ain't supposed to be bothering yourself to be with her in the first place. That's not how it works. Okay, that's not how it works. If she's worthy, she's worthy. If she's not, you ain't supposed to be there, and she ain't supposed to be there with you. And that's real talk. Now, they had an interesting thing to talk about. And I'm going to tell you this, don't be surprised at the show. Now, I don't know what the show is. I don't know why it's set up the way it's set up. But I've told y'all before that black women work well with the white men because they have the same agendas. Okay? Now, I'm not saying why they doing something together. It's just a clip I saw. I have no clue who these people are, and they don't make an actual difference. We looking at what was said. Okay? You have a woman who seems to have recommended that if a woman gets married to a man and that woman is involved in that marriage, okay, she in that marriage, then she should insist upon having her name put on property that someone got before she got there. Now, women agree with stuff like this because it's beneficial to them. Okay, women do agree about stuff like this because it's beneficial to them. Now, if you think about stuff about how they view men having access to their stuff, you get a different connection. Okay, it don't connect the same way when they have stuff at stake. Okay, see, when they own stuff before you get there, these rules are not going to apply to them. Now, could you find some diamond in the rough that would say that no, I'll put his name on my stuff too? That's possible. Just same way I can find a guy with no legs. You can always find some exception to a rule. Okay, but generally speaking, if a man comes into a relationship with a woman and the relationship goes well, he ends up proposing, but she is just further along in life than he is from a financial perspective. She got her own house, her own car. She got her own job. She was y'all get what I'm saying. Yeah, they don't work. It don't work for them like that. They don't think they supposed to take you and you not where they at and put your name on all they stuff. Now, think about stuff can be a multitude of different things. Stuff can be stuff they inherited from previous generations of people. Stuff can be stuff that they worked for and earned themselves and bought. Stuff could be the house. Stuff could be the car. Stuff could be a business. So, you don't know what stuff is. Everybody got a little something. So why go through the trouble of adding names to stuff that was already taken care of before two people got married? Now, the thing is, the host of the show tried to, form it as, trusting somebody. Okay. And then she she changed up what the dude said, because he said, what if we get divorced? And she said, you're anticipating divorce. Now, I told y'all, women lie so much, they don't even pay attention to it. And that's what she did. Okay, that's what at least that's what I believe. I don't believe she intentionally changed that as if it was a lie. She's just used to lying so much that lying comes natural. So instead of dealing with what the man actually said, what if we get divorced? She said, you're anticipating divorce. Then she said, that he was saying, what about when they get divorced? And he never said that. He said, what if we get divorced? Which is an actual concern if you go marry a woman, you know? And the thing is, you don't have to worry about divorce, but that don't mean it stops existing because you ain't worried about it. It does actually exist. And if you're a black man, it exists at a higher level. Okay? Because the one thing it's hard for a married black woman to do is to stay married until the husband dies. That is a reality that men have to look at. Okay? What is something you can pretty much depend on when it comes to a black man marrying a black woman? What you can just about depend on is a divorce. Now, people can say what they want to say. This is not an opinion. These are just the facts. Okay? Black women like to get divorced from black men. And that's why I say a lot of us, we got to pay attention to stuff before we do the marriage. A young man said yesterday, when you marry a woman, that doesn't mean she's going to be loyal. Now, this is the thing. The way he made his statement, it was clear that he was taught that if you marry a woman, she's supposed to change. Now, the thing is, if he was taught that, that means other people were taught that. No, you got to know the woman's loyal to you before you propose. Marrying a woman does not change the woman. And there's a lot of men who have that belief. Marrying a woman does not change a woman. She is who she is, y'all. You are who you are no matter what position you happen to be in. Okay? Now, shout out to, we got a brother in the chat. He said, now this is, I guess you pronounce this Victor Morini, F-O-G. He says, today I celebrate 9 years of marriage and 14 years together. I'm going to say shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Okay. I hope you get 9 more years, at least another 9 times. Real talk. Okay. I hope you get 9 more years, at least another 9 times. Shout out to you, brother. And congratulations. Okay. Congratulations. All right. And y'all, this is what we got to understand. Marriage ain't the problem. There's only a problem if the wrong people are involved in the marriage. But the woman said something that I can totally see other women might take a message from. I can see other women getting upset with some man about what's going on with names on properties and things like that. Because again, y'all, a property could be it could just be a house. It could be some vehicles. It could be a business. It could be things that you inherited from previous generations. So the thing is, we got to look at what's real. And your marriage should not be something that a woman is allowed to hustle up in. No, she got to marry for love and she got to be down. Okay. Marriage is something you're supposed to do for multiple decades. Okay. Now, we don't have a lot of quote unquote diamond anniversaries anymore. That's 75 years of marriage, which is why women should get married young. It's hard to get to a 75-year marriage anniversary if you're already 75. That math don't work, okay? That math don't work. You can't wait till you're 75 and then try to get into a 75-year marriage. That don't make sense, okay? Now, real talk. If she's 40, can you reach 40 years of marriage? Maybe. There's plenty of folks who ain't gonna live long enough, even if they got married at 40, to actually have a 40-year marriage. So how do you actually get to good, long-lasting marriages? How do you get to that silver anniversary? Okay. How do you get to that golden anniversary? How do you get to that diamond anniversary. Guess what? We ain't got time to play with these women, y'all. They're gonna have to get married quick. They're gonna have to get married early. I should say. I'm not gonna say get married quick, but they got to get married early. Okay. It don't take that long to figure out what's going on. Now, I got somebody backstage. I'm gonna bring you up in a few minutes. I do see you back there. I'll be bringing you up in a few. Okay. Now, this is the thing, y'all. If you want to be in marriage, cool. If you don't want to be in marriage, hey, that's you at the end of the day. Cool, because you don't have to be in one. But if you gonna be in one, should you accept the shaming language of why you should do something that somebody wasn't around to do? Because I'm gonna tell you this, y'all. The woman said some stuff on the surface level. I can see how women would go for this because it's gonna sound good to them. As men, I can see how it could even, tap your ear a little bit, saying, you know what she said ain't so bad. Now, this is the thing as men, y'all. Why would I reward you for things that you wasn't around for? Because let's keep it real. If a man has a house and you wasn't there when he purchased the house, so therefore your name ain't on the house, why would that man put your name on the house? Now, it sounds good. It sounds like, oh, well, it's about trust and all that type of stuff. No. Trust goes both ways. Trust goes both ways. If I buy a house and you're not with me when I buy the house, you simply gonna have to trust that if something happens to our marriage, because I may die before you do, you're gonna have to trust that you good in that house. That's what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to trust that you good in that house. Now, I'm gonna keep it real at this point in my life, y'all. Let's say I got married tomorrow. Okay. We got a house over here. Okay. Her name ain't on it. But I ain't gonna say I get married tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't get married to a woman that's like, well, I could say tomorrow. But I would be with a woman for a couple of years before we get married. Okay. About 2-year mark, we'll get married. All right. Now, this is the thing. Now she want her name on the house. Well, if you ain't help me purchase the home, you ain't put no down payment on the home. Okay, you ain't put no down payment on the home. You wasn't even there when I signed the contract to go into this mortgage. Why would I put your name on the house? You just wasn't there for that. And at the end of the day, y'all, as men, we have to stop rewarding people in places they don't need to be rewarded unless we truly want to. You can always give your stuff away. You a grown man. If you want to give away everything you own, that is your business at the end of the day. But what should not happen is we should hear people talk nonsense and we should be convinced by saying nonsense to do stuff that we don't see as the right thing to do. Obviously, the man who wrote back, okay, into this radio show, I'm assuming, obviously this man has a problem. He made that clear he had a problem. My wife listened to basically your dumb advice from from his perspective. Now she having issues and she done moved out. Now, this is the thing, y'all. This ain't no time to panic. I understand a woman moving out is a big deal. This ain't no time to panic. Yeah, y'all was together for 2 years in the marriage. Cool. But this ain't no time to panic. If you gonna move out, because I bought a house before I even met you, if you gonna move out, because I bought a house whether I knew you or not, and you didn't put nothing on this down payment, if you gonna get upset that I pay mortgages by myself without you being in the picture, and now that we get married, you mad that your name ain't on the mortgage, my thing is this, y'all. That's on you for showing up late. That's on you. Now, there are some reasons why older women will be looked for when it comes to a marriage. If a man has already been married and then went through a divorce or his wife died, if he's getting a second wife, I understand. But if I'm getting a second wife Why would I be trying to give you something that I got with my first wife? Or I got maybe before my first wife? Because if the first wife's name ain't on the property, more than likely she ain't putting in on this either. Now the thing is, they came with the shaming language saying, "Well, you gonna have the woman pay for the property. She gonna help with the mortgage." Guess what, y'all? People do that all the time. It's called rent. You pay for where you stay. It happens all the time. It is not an issue for some woman to pay rent for where she lives. Now, she's married to the man where she pay rents to. She should get a good price. Plain and simple. She should get a good price on her rent. Okay. And I see two of y'all backstage. I'm going to bring you up shortly. I try to do the first 30 minutes on my own, but I'll bring y'all up shortly. Okay. Now, this is the thing, y'all. You got to pay rent if you don't own it. Now, at the end of the day, if I meet you later in life, you showed up late. You need to be penalized for showing up late. We should have been married early. Okay. We could have got married at 18 years old and did our whole adult life together. But you wanted to mess around in them streets. You wanted to play around out there. And now you think I owe you something because you was out there in them streets playing around? Now, I understand whoever wrote this stuff into this radio show, I'm assuming it was, he had some real concern. But my thing is this. Your wife done moved out. So what's more important to her? Is the marriage important to her, or is her having her name on property that she didn't help earn important to her? Which is which? Because see, this is the thing, y'all. I done told y'all how it's supposed to go. If you have a wife that is working outside of the home, she should be turning that money over to you. Now, what I know for sure is a lot of black women don't want to do that. And that's just real talk. They want to think in terms of his money and her money, but then when they need something for the quote unquote household, is our money with his check. Hey, that's a great deal for them. I can't even be mad at them for trying to get it to swing that way. I can't be mad at them. So it's her money and his money. But anytime the quote unquote household needs something, it's our money with his check. That's a no-lose situation for her. So I totally get why women would want stuff like that. But again, y'all, if you have to build your life without the woman that you're married to because she wasn't around, now understand, it is a woman's responsibility to convince a man that she is worthy of marriage. A lot of y'all don't get that, don't understand that, may have never even heard it before. But you're going to end up taking care of her. In reality, the chances of a woman taking care of you are next to none. If women make a come up of any kind, okay, what they like to do is divorce you so they're not stuck with you, and then they try to get some other man. So if she makes it and she becomes a singer, a big time singer, okay, shout out to Jennifer Hudson. That means you about to get dumped, okay? That's simple at the end of the day. If she becomes an actress, you about to get dumped, okay? If she becomes a movie star of some kind, you getting dumped. Okay, if she gets some big time corporate job, maybe something happened, she making 300,000 a year all of a sudden. Okay, you probably getting dumped. That's what women do. Now, ain't no point being mad at it, but you got to recognize the truth for what it is. So at the end of the day, when a man makes strides and come up in the world from a financial perspective, our usual thing is we keep the woman that we made those strides with. Women's thing is to usually leave the man that she made the stride with and get a different man because she wants a certain status. She wants to be looked upon a certain way. She wants a man to match her new bank account. Okay. Shout out to Israelite 1865. She said if she gets a winning lottery ticket, now legally she got to give you half if that ticket came up in that marriage. But there are women. There's plenty of stories out there about women who tried to hide the fact that they won the lottery and get a divorce and without telling their husband about the lottery winners. These things happen on a regular basis. So look, life ain't fair. We all got to accept certain things when it comes to life. You know, we cannot allow our egos to get in the way of what we're trying to do, because that can lead you down the wrong path. But we do have to be serious about what life really is. And at the end of the day, I don't care what somebody's talking about. At the end of the day, when it comes down to it, let's say you do have a property like was wrote in about. She want her name on your property. Shorty, you wasn't there for all this. If you wanted your name on here, you should have been here when I got it. It's that simple at the end of the day. You're going to have to trust me that you will be good while I'm alive, and you're going to have to trust me that when I die, you'll still be good. Because y'all already thought what I'm going to do. If I were to get married at this particular point, that woman would know 100% for sure she will not be receiving any property or business that I leave behind. If we have some kids together somehow, sure, I can leave stuff in the child's name. But if that don't happen, it's all going to my nephews. Now, I'm going to ask them not to put you out till you die. That's what I'm going to ask them to do. And a woman may realistically say, well, you can't control what they going to do after you did. And I'm going to say, you absolutely right. So you better think about that on how you treat them. That's all I can tell you. Because you ain't getting your name on nothing that you wasn't there. If you wasn't there when we do the down payment, then your name ain't going on. I don't care what some woman said on some radio show. It don't make me no different. You weren't there. You missed that. That's on you. Life ain't fair. Get over it. And if she got to leave because I won't put her name on something, it's better off that she's gone. It's that simple at the end of it. It is better off that she's gone. But I got these two gentlemen here, so let them get the mic. PK, you was in the back first, so you got the mic first, my brother. How you doing?
Doing well, man. Am I coming in okay, or is it too windy?
No, you all right. You all right.
All right, cool. Well, I hope you're doing well as well, man.
Before you go, shout out to Yogan. He said people are disrespecting your likes. Almost worse than asking to put their name on your house or LeBron wearing number 23 at the Roger Report Live. Y'all, look, I understand. I give great content and it's compelling. I get it, but that don't mean you don't hit that like button. So if you ain't hit the like button already, y'all get it jumping now while PK does his thing. My bad, brother. Go ahead.
It's all good, just doing some house duties and house cleaning. I understand that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Do you do. Get your money. But hey, you said a lot of things that were compelling and worth discussing farther earlier. And to be quite honest with you, you've moved along so much that I don't even know how to circle the wagon to get back to it, to be honest with you. But I'm just going to start here. For a lot of reasons, unbeknownst to the modern man, marriage has become a transfer of wealth, unfortunately, from men to women primarily. That's what it's. Women are getting into marriages as a business proposition for themselves. That's the current iteration of where we are in this modern day society. Now, it wasn't always the case, because marriage as an institution has been around for as long as humans have been around. So it isn't a new concept. However, the way in which we perform and carry out marital obligations and understandings have changed radically from its original design. So the idea of women gaining property after the fact, for instance, in this case, is mostly supposed to be handled by the children of that union. The woman had no right to any property, and that was supposed to be handled by you left that property to your child inside of that union, and your child would then go on to take care of her if you, for whatever reason, passed. And this wasn't something that was set up in a modern day trust or anything of that nature, or on any sort of paperwork, even though that later on became a thing and can be done today. However, to be quite frank with you, like you mentioned earlier, if you weren't there in the beginning, you shouldn't even feel as though you're entitled to it. However, if you get married to a woman, you damn well could be on the hook for something like that. So you ought to be careful. And this is part of the reason why I'm not really, in its current iteration, a very big proponent of marriage. I don't think the concept itself, there's anything wrong with it. However, the way that we are currently practicing it and legislating around it is highly problematic. And it has to be addressed foundationally to deal with some of these issues. So when we get through some more conversation of this, I can dive into some more of the specifics on some of these things, man, because a lot of people have these misaligned values that they've gotten from feminist teachings surrounding marriage and what the institution is supposed to be about. Like, for instance, I remember you mentioned love earlier. That wasn't the purpose. That's something that came along much later. That's a modern idea that only came around the romanticism era, the Victorian era later on. It isn't the original purpose or intention behind marriage between men and women.
Okay. All right. Let's give the mic to Kevin 3905 is in the building. You got it, my brother.
Good morning, fellas. Am I coming in loud and clear this morning?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, man. I'm gonna get on my Dr. Umar Johnson this morning. These hoes is charging virgin prices. I said these hoes is charging virgin prices. These hoes are charging virgin prices. Fellas, y'all need to get that in your head. Marriage is a business. It's a business first, and it's a business last. You need to go into these marriages understanding what you're purchasing. Every man on the planet, one way, shape, fashion, or form, is purchasing a woman. Some women are cheap, some women are expensive, and it's up to you whether this woman is cheap or expensive. Some women, a few of them, can be assets. If you conduct yourself well and you have the right principles, you can lead a woman into being an asset for you, but she has to be willing to be an asset. If you purchase any property prior to a woman coming into your life and she's pining about why isn't the property in her name, that ain't your woman. That just ain't your woman. The women that we have today, some other man has got her on a video doing something shameful. A few men has got a whole bunch of pictures of her body. You're gonna go somewhere with these women, and some man is gonna be standing in the corner talking about, yeah, man, I used to have that. I used to do this and that with that. Oh man, me and the boys ran a train on that. You got to understand what it is that you're buying, fellas, and what you're willing to spend on that. You need to do the whole facts on these chicks. Most of these women ain't worth nothing. And until black men specifically wrap their minds around this, stop worshiping the mother goddess, the mother goddesses out there, and start putting themselves first and start making a business decision, this ain't gonna get no better. It's a business first, it's a business last. You can fall in love, but you better take care of business. And I'm gonna land my plane right there.
We got
Yeah,
one
I
more
think
guest.
that's a good.
We got one more guest that's coming up. So let me go ahead and let him get the mic right away, and then we'll free flow with the conversation. I'll let you kick it off, PK. All right, go ahead, Emperor. How you doing, brother?
I'm very well, Roger. Peace to the chat and everybody on the panel. See, the way I view this marriage thing, it looks like a scam to me. It looks like men are getting robbed on a daily by being married to these hoes. And also, Roger, I'm going to push back a little bit on something that you said. But hear me out. You said that unless she was there when the house was being purchased or something along those lines, right? And I say, no, even if she was there, that doesn't mean that she contributed to anything. You know what I'm saying? She was there. Like let's say you had a dog. The dog was there, but that doesn't mean that the dog contributed to anything. Because sometimes these married men, as they are sleeping, I mean, not even sleeping, they're awake all night working on projects, and their woman is sleeping. She's sleeping and snoring. He won't even wake up in the middle of the night to bring him a cup of coffee, a piece of bread, nothing. How is she contributing to anything that he's doing? Hmm? When the project succeeds, how how did she contribute to to the success of the project? She didn't do nothing. She was just there. So that automatically means that she should get something. Meanwhile, she didn't do anything. That's how I interpret the institution of marriage. I think many men are getting wrong. Do you agree with me or not?
Well, you make a point, but I'm gonna say this: men are supposed to have requirements for their wife or whoever they're dealing with at the end of the day. Now, if she's there, I can understand a housewife getting something, but now if she ain't doing nothing as a housewife, I gotta blame the man for that. The man is allowing her to be there and benefit without doing anything. So it's not about her deserving. It's just because she alive and exists. When I say she's there, she's supposed to be a good wife to you while she's there. If she's not a good wife to you, she ain't supposed to be there. Women should be punished if they're not being good wives to a man. And that's something that's tricky for black men because black men have no understanding that you are the head of the household, which means you have to punish people. And sometimes that can include another adult in the house. So she should never be allowed to be there without contributing. Now, people can contribute in different ways. Shout out to the late great Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's wife didn't contribute to anything from a basketball sense, but she made sure whatever Kobe wanted to do to help him improve in basketball, he was cleared and didn't have to worry about anything happening with the children or what's going on in his household. So women can contribute in different ways. So now if she ain't doing nothing, that's on the man. My thing is
But
never
Roger,
allow your
I
wife
mean,
to
this
do
is this
nothing.
is this is important, man. And I think that because black men as are reportedly so quote unquote egalitarian or the most quote unquote egalitarian male, we actually perpetuate not having these sort of expectations for women or the women that we choose to be in relations with, which is damning. That's not a good thing. That's actually a bad thing, in my opinion, in my view. Now, so the reason why, what is a wife? And a lot of people don't know the answer to that question. We like to think of it as just a term to describe a woman who's married, but it's more than that. And we don't like to have those expectations in this modern time frame we live in. But the truth is, women have expectations and duties to fulfill a role of a wife.
Well, I 100% agree. If your wife is not fulfilling her role as a man, you're supposed to correct that because that's a problem. And I would never be involved with a wife who ain't doing her job. You know what I'm saying? You don't get to just get the benefits and you don't put in none of the work. So I think number one, you just never allow something like that to go on in your household. That's just it. And whatever you got to do to make that happen, you're gonna
Well,
have
I
to
mean, a
do.
lot of men are afraid to it's not a wife. Just because you're with her, dealing with her, and it doesn't want to be a wife. You just happen to marry the bride.
Well,
And I don't think men are able to really truthfully in this time, in this modern day age, make that distinction clearly.
what the thing is, we tell them so that we can help them make some of the we can help them make some of the distinctions. But at the end of the day, if your wife is doing nothing, you allowed that as a man. That's your fault. The same way, do you have a woman right now trying to convince a man that her name needs to be on property that he had before she came into the picture. It is not my fault that you didn't present yourself as worthy in marriage until after this house was already, initially purchased. As far as putting the down payment and the first time we done paid the more, you weren't there. You not being the owner of this house is not my problem to fix. If you trust me, you should trust that you will be good because your husband owns the house. Trust has to go both ways. But before I say anything else, Tunnel Runner then came up, so let me let him get in. And then we have someone named Lena. Matter of fact, Lena, I got you backstage. You will be next because I don't know exactly who you are. We're going to bring you up in a second. After Tunnel Runner, I'm going to bring you up so you can make your opening statement. Go ahead, Tunnel Runner.
All right, Roger, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, the key word you said was trust. And what we have now, what rich people have formed up is don't trust that woman. Put your money in a trust, put your house in a trust so that if you have a divorce, she cannot touch that stuff. If you have a house, if you have gold bars, you can put that in a trust and you will be protected against divorce, losing that property. So they have a trust, they have prenups. Some of these situations to protect you from divorce, from separation, from losing the assets that you established before you got married. So that word trust is a very important word. And rich people are saying, don't trust nobody. Trust yourself and put your put your stuff in the trust.
Shout out to you, brother. I mean, that's real. That's the real talk at the end of the day. But I'm gonna say this: the woman who started this up or whatever, the woman who left the house and she throwing her quote unquote tantrum to try to get this man to put her name on the property. She trusts that because her name is not on that property, if they get a divorce, this ain't gonna go quite smoothly for her. She definitely trusts she will not necessarily get a hold of that house, and it's obviously then turned into a problem where she felt moving out was the right thing to do, which is cool. My thing is let her stay out as long as she needs to stay out to figure out that she ain't gonna get her name on that property and stop worrying about her feelings so much. If she loves you and she married you, she should trust you. It's that simple at the end of the day. Now, I brought up a young lady named Lena. Lena, you may have been here before. I might remember you from
Yeah,
while back on one of my previous channels. Have you
yeah,
been here before?
yeah. Earlier, like I think earlier this year.
Okay, it was on a previous channel I had, but we had to make another one. But it's all good. Nice to have you back. Or go ahead and chime in. You got 2 minutes to say whatever you want to say on this subject. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just wondering, like, what do you guys think? First, good morning. What do you guys think of what are the requirements of a wife, and do you feel those requirements before you are married or after? Of course,
If
you're
you
gonna do it after. Or just
Before to qualify, you have to be qualified to get the title and position of wife, in my opinion. Some men will argue otherwise, but that's the truth. That's what a wife truly is. You have to already possess those qualities before you become a wife.
yeah, I mean, real talk. If I can't tell you a wife, I have no reason to marry you.
Yeah, being a wife is like being feminine. It's not something you turn on and off. You either are or you are not. You were either trained up to be a wife or you learn how to be a wife. You made it a part of who you are. So even as we're dating, soon as I meet you, I should realize like she's different. There's a quality about her that's not like everybody else. And then as I get to know you, you should be displaying wifely qualities just naturally, not looking for something in return. Just I'm showing this man that I'm a wife because I'm interested in him and I think he might be a husband. Just like we're supposed to be husbands and masculine all the time, if
Mhm.
that makes any sense.
I'm
Yeah.
Let me add a little bit. Do you become an accountant after you get an accounting job, or you are an accountant after you graduated college?
not- Oh, that's a good one. I think you're an accountant. Afterwards, 'cause I wouldn't trust, because legally, could they be an accountant if you haven't graduated and got your credentials? That's
Well,
a
I
good
mean,
question.
put like this to make it hit a little bit more home. Would you pay somebody to do your taxes who doesn't show proficiency in that area, and just say, hey, just start doing my tax. You can go to school after the fact.
Mm-mm. No.
So you want somebody who's already trained and ready.
Right.
Okay. So when a man looks for a wife, we want somebody who's already trained and ready. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a break because you may not know, but there was a link in the description that I put that we're discussing. And now a woman wants her name on property that was purchased before the man married her. This was inspired by some person that seems to be on some radio show who said something. Now the guy wrote back in like, y'all done said some stuff. Now my wife is upset and she doesn't even moved out the house. Do you think, as a woman, that if I have a property that was purchased before you came around, that because I'm marrying you, I should put your name on the property? Do you think that's a real thing?
It depends. And this is what I mean. Depends how long you had the property and will you allow me to buy into it. Like, okay, you put such and such amount, let me reimburse, put half, and we both can have some type of investment in the house.
I like her. I like her. I like her thought process.
I'm
I
gonna
like
say
that.
that sounds cool, but what woman finna come and play catch up on what you've already put into a house?
I might as well if I was going to buy a home and we're if you invest in a home and you invest in me, I should invest in a home with you.
Oh,
We
no,
can do it
Well, let me
together.
let me throw
I get
you
that. Hold
let
on
me
one
throw
second.
you
Hold on.
off for a loop here, man.
Okay,
What if he just says no?
yeah. Okay, well,
The
go ahead
only
with
way I
that. What if
would
he just
allow a
says no?
no, the only way I would allow a no if they own a house, if it was a home that was passed down. If it was like, okay, this is my parents' home, my grandparents' home, then I can understand. I wouldn't want to take it if we were divorced.
I don't like her anymore. She says she gonna allow a man to do something. That's crazy.
Okay,
Crazy work.
hold on, y'all. My thing is, let's look at this realistically. Okay, let's say I purchased the home, 2 years before I married this woman or whatever. Okay, let's keep the math simple. We put $10,000 down on the home, so we got 10,000. I've paid a mortgage for 2 years, 1,000 a month. Okay, so what's that? That's $24,000. So now I done put $34,000 into this house. Now this woman marries me, and she talking about let me put in with you. Where you gonna come up with the 34,000? You see what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying. This is not realistic for the average regular folks. This is just not a realistic thing. Who got an extra 34,000 lying around so they can play catch up on the house?
You could find ways, maybe dig in a 401k, maybe we have some type of saving, maybe we come into some type of insurance money, someone passed, it's
Let
ways.
me let me interject a little bit. Thank you very much. I don't like her anymore because she mentioned in case of divorce. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about marriage, and she already saying, "Oh, in case of divorce, I will not take the house that your parents left to you." You know what I'm saying? And she's already planning the exit before even entering the contract. You see?
What
Okay.
my
Let's
thing
also
is,
divorce. What about death?
the
So
divorce
what
is
if
a
he dies and
well,
they have
hold on. Divorce is a real thing. Just because someone mentions divorce doesn't mean they planning to do it. Just like I said about what the man said on the show. Just because he mentioned it does not mean he's planning to do it. It is a real thing, and as an adult, you got to look at this as a real thing. There's always a chance for divorce if you get married. That can't just be ignored. You know. Not saying anybody's right or wrong. I'm just saying it can't be ignored. But we do have our Ivy Leaguer that just came up. So let me let him get the mic for a moment. And she just got knocked off. I guess she'll come back. Look like she got knocked off. But Sam ain't paying. And excuse me, brother. Sam ain't paying. Ish has the mic. Go ahead, my brother.
Salute to you, Roger. Shout out to the people on the panel. Shout out to the
Yeah, Baba.
niggas in the wilderness, and shout out to the brothers in the suburbs. I hear Twan is out there right now. Twan is really out there. So good luck. out there in the suburbs. So, couple of things, gentlemen. First of all, you gotta understand something. Uncle Sam didn't stick her, so Uncle Sam ain't paying. The reason for marriage is to stick you niggas with the bill. Women are expensive, and the older they get, the more money they cost, and the less productivity they produce. Uncle Sam understands that from a financial point of view. Uncle Sam understands that from a public policy point of view. So at the end of the day, since look, it costs. Coochie costs. And since you sticked her, you got to get the bill. Now, when it comes to uh allocation of assets, as well, this is not financial advice, this is my opinion, but as a person that went to Wharton, I would say that whatever assets you have had before the marriage, you do not share it with her under no circumstances whatsoever.
Thank you.
You need to have a safety net. Statistics show that when men and women divorce, women are on the come up and men actually have to rebuild their wealth all over. And gentlemen, what is happening right now is that now women are divorcing men in their 60s out of your prime earning years, which is diabolical. So, gentlemen, I would suggest you to have your resources separate and have that prenup structured so that whatever I had, even that last sheet of toilet paper, that belongs to me. Then after the marriage, you can negotiate. But I would say even during the marriage, have her working, have her earning, so the alimony doesn't take a hit. And if you have children, try to do surrogacy. So when you divorce, they belong to you and not to her. But if you shoot up the club once or twice, things happen, then just God bless you.
I'm gonna say interesting thoughts. Interesting thoughts. Now I'm gonna just say plain and simple, y'all. Whatever I got before she got there, she just gonna have to trust that I'll do right by her with it. It's her fault she showed up late. Point blank, period. I was 18 once, you was 18 once. Why weren't you there when I was 18? Why weren't you taking the risk with me? Why weren't you going through the struggle with me? Why wasn't you eating, the no disrespect to ramen noodles, but when I could only afford ramen noodles, why wasn't you there eating ramen with me? If you don't go through the struggle with me, I don't owe you squat because you showed up late. You wanted to show when it was more comfortable for you. And that's
Yeah.
your fault at the end of the day. And it's not my problem. And I think the issue that men have is we worry about problems that don't concern us. I have no reason to put her on anything I own if I did it before she got there. I ain't got no reason to. So I can make her feel better. I don't care about making her feel better like that. That's my wife. You either love me and trust me or you don't. And if you
But
don't love me and trust me, I don't want you to be my wife in the first place. So any woman, and see me, I tell any woman all this before I marry her. If I got it before you, it ain't yours. It's that simple at the end of the day. And it ain't going to you when
I
I
Well,
go.
actually
Roger.
respect your views.
Well, Roger, I wanted to say this earlier when she made mention of potentially buying into the house. It's like that's why I threw out that question of what if he says no, because quite frankly, I mean, like in my view, the answer to that, if she were to ask me that question, let's say hypothetically, we're married, my wife asked me such a question, the answer is no. I mean, like you can try to give me any sort of, uh, reasoning behind why you want to do what you want to do, but quite frankly, like you weren't here. It's not your business. It's not even yours. Why do you feel entitled to it? Buy in? What buy in? Your money's mine now. You're with me, right?
well, the point I think we need to look at deeper is we need to look at a mindset. If a woman is going to ask me, or if my my woman asked me, or my wife asked me, that said, "Hey, before we get married, all these things that you have, I want to buy into it." That is a red flag to call off the wedding, because that shows a deeper level of selfishness, right? And also shows a little bit of laziness. We're going to get into a marriage and we're going to work for the things that we get in a marriage, and then maybe try to split that. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna try to nickel and dime her as much as I can. But that's just me. But
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with that sentiment.
I'm not done. For normal people, for normal people, if she is asking for things that I have before her, that is a red flag screaming selfishness. I pass the mic.
All right, before anybody
So,
else
but
says anything,
what if
hold
she
on,
doesn't look at it like that?
hold on. Before anybody else says anything, we got Inspired Truth then came up and Mr. Z then came up. Now, Mr. Z says he got a time issue. And y'all remember, if you have a time issue, just put time in the private chat. And you ain't got to type out no long message. Just put time in the private chat and I'll move you up. But if you abuse that privilege, you will pay a penalty. But Mr. Z, you got the floor. We get Inspired Truth right after you. And then
Let
we'll come
Inspired
back
Truth
to
go.
you,
I'll go
Lena.
after him. Go. Let him go. Let him go. I'll go after him.
No. You said you got a time issue, so don't be saying it and you ain't got one. Now,
Let
come on.
No, I
let
do.
Z
I
go.
do.
Let
I
Z
do.
go.
Well, yeah. No, no. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you. So, I didn't get to hear nothing so far on this stream, barely, and I got to hear about the first 30 minutes of yesterday's stream. So bear with the complete ignorance, but I'm gonna be that guy. So you gonna talk and you barely know anything? Yes. Somebody's background. Oh my God.
Everybody mute up. Everybody mute up.
Hey, mute me,
Miss Lena,
Roger,
that's your
please.
background. I think that's your background. Somebody's background. Jesus. All right, thank you. So I'm gonna be that guy that says something without barely knowing anything. All right, jeez. Okay, I want to emphasize this about what you were speaking about the UOF essentially, right? Old, unused, old feminists. I can't remember how it goes. Raj, my bad. Um, so
Unwanted old feminist, a UOF,
unwanted
exactly.
unwanted old feminist, right? So and shout out to Lena for actually being up. I heard you mention her name last stream, and so I'm glad that she's here. I didn't really get to hear her speak. I don't know if she popped up on the stream yesterday, well, on the panel, and shout out to her. So it's something I say on my stream often. Single and childless Black women have the least amount of wealth in America. The entire project of moving around as if you have far more power than you do, far more influence than you do, far more moral than you are, that Black women have been participating in for the past 6 or so decades has gotten them nowhere except for poverty and being excluded out of the middle class and any stability in any significant number. Living vicariously through your favorite celebrity has gotten the masses of Black women absolutely nothing but poverty and pretending like you're doing far better than you're actually doing, while dry begging, sassy begging, obligation begging, aggressive begging, arrogant begging, and just generally acting like a petulant child. I say this to say, what you see with mid 40-year-old and 50-year-old and 60-year-old single Black women is the cost of their autonomy, their sass, their attitude. I am not about Black men physically harming Black women. I am not about even being verbally aggressive towards Black women. I'm about even worse, leaving them to their own devices, right? I'm about Black men being apathetic, indifferent, and despondent, and leaving Black women to the elements. And if the elements is the white dude that Chad Wheelers you, shrugs. The white dude that Travis Kelsey you, shrugs. The fist of other women in a DV situation, shrugs. And by the way, that is what happens when Black women aren't with Black men. So I want to emphasize that to any Black women listening, what you are dealing with is the cost of your attitude. And by the way, stop asking your sons why they popping up with the non-Black women at the house. He gonna lie to your face. He gonna talk about love. And it is love. It's also, I want to be with someone like you, mama. Oops. Or auntie. Right? So let me make sure to say that, and I'll pause right there. I've got a couple more minutes, but yeah, y'all go ahead. I'm sorry about the
Yeah, you know,
monopolizing the time.
but there's a link in the description. I'm assuming you didn't see the link. Go on to
No,
check
I
that
didn't see
link
the
out.
link. I didn't see a link. I'm sorry about that, yo.
Yeah,
I didn't see any link. I looked, but I didn't see anything. I'm
I
sorry.
would say, I would say, you wait a minute. You tried to look for it, you didn't see it.
No, you know, I know you keep it in the description box, so I didn't see anything. I'll check again. Maybe it was just me.
Okay, y'all.
Well,
Did
it's in the
anybody else see the link in the description?
it's in the description box. It is in the description
Okay,
box.
Okay, I'll
all
check
right,
again. I'm sorry about that.
all right. Well, inspired truth. Go ahead, my brother. 2 minutes, and then we'll come back to Lena because she was trying to say something, and we don't want women trying to yell over men. All right, go
Uh,
ahead, inspired truth.
all right. First of all, am I coming in clear, loud and clear?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me go ahead and get into my thing. Peace to you, Raj. Peace to the chat. Salute to everybody's on the panel. So basically, what I want to get in, drop in, and make sure that I get across as fast as possible is the idea that marriage is a contract, but it is a fluctuating contract. It is subject to where you live. The contract that you get in Texas is not the contract that you get in California, which is not the contract that you get in Colombia. Like, depending, you have to be cognizant of where you live, where you move to. That ends up becoming something that affects the contract. Now, with regards to the basically wait at the finish line side of things, yes, you should get somebody that is willing to pay in, but that factor of the environment that you live in is going to dictate where things go, because after you give somebody all you can give them, there's not really a whole lot of anywhere left to go after that, unless you're just making substantial, constant progress that they can't ignore. But that's all I had for that. Just be careful with the whole way you live thing. That's just as important as the person that you choose. And since I don't have a lot of time, I got to drop. I'll be in the back.
All right. Well, if you don't have time, y'all, anybody in the future that's coming up, if you don't have time, just put the word time backstage in the private chat, and I'll move you to the front of the line. Okay. All right. So, and I'll say anybody with 15 minutes or less, we'll just do it like that. If you got 15 minutes or less, then that's what you do, and we'll move you to the front of the line. Now, Lena, you got cut off. You was trying to say something. I don't believe in that women should be trying to yell over men. So you got the flow. What is it that you were trying to get out?
I'm just saying that I don't think that a woman, if she wants to buy into the house or whatever, or something be a part of something that you had previous before marriage or before meeting her, I don't think that she's selfish. She wants to invest in the future with her husband. And also they were trying to say that a woman who doesn't who wants to do that is considered selfish. I don't think that's being so. What she wants to lighten the load of her husband, and I also think trust is a two-way street. I understand men protecting their assets. I don't blame you. It's a lot of people out here that's heartless and take everything you got, take your last dime. But I don't think it's wrong that a woman that you trust your woman to stay with you. I think it's trust is a two-way street. So if you say, "Oh, I don't trust her to be on the thing," then how she could look at you like, "Well, you don't. I don't trust you to not leave me." You could find a younger woman or fall in love with somebody else, and then she's out of a home that she invested in. So it is a two-way
Well,
street.
Well,
well,
this is
okay. So here's the situation. Well, I'm
go ahead.
because
Go
I
ahead.
said it. So okay. Here's the situation. If the property I own, I had it right. That is the past. So if we're talking about the future, like you said, so then we should be talking about future items, right? We can't be talking about the house because that's the past. That's before I met you. So that doesn't really make sense, right? If we want to build a future together, we should be looking toward. Second point, yes, trust is a two-way street, but at the end of the day, the vow said for richer or for poor. In America, the one of the top reasons for divorce is for finances. So now we're choosing to ignore that. So so for that reason, now is if we get divorced, you're not gonna get my back. And if she says, well, then I can't trust you to leave me, then I guess we're not getting married then. I mean, it's really just that simple. Because at the end of the day, right, my kids are my bloodline. My mama's my bloodline. My brother's my bloodline. You're the odd man out. And I'll leave it there.
Then I have
Can I?
a trust.
hold on, because I want to say something too. Now, my thing is this: we supposed to get married when we was young and fresh out of high school, and we supposed to build a life together. If I bought a house, that means I've been building a life without you. You showed up late. That is your problem. That is not my problem. You were supposed to be with me. It is not my job to fix your past. It just ain't my job. You come ready to go. The house already purchased. At the end of the day, we don't need to do nothing with that house. If you think you want another house, then bring it to me as your husband, so we can discuss getting another house that you can have your name on. But we ain't dealing with the past because you showed up late. I'm not supposed to have to deal with life without you as the wife. I don't care that you have to face some sort of punishment because you didn't show up on time. It's that simple to me. It's not. It's nothing really complex. You didn't show up when you were supposed to be there. You were supposed to be there when I was 18. First became a man. I was supposed to be able to find a good woman to have a life with. You showed up late. You got to pay late fees. It is what it is.
This is
I wanted to say something, but I didn't know if the woman wanted to chime in and say
this is
anything else.
Yeah, if you
the
have time.
classic. This is the this is the classic thing where women like to show up to the finish line when it's done instead of showing up when a man is in process, judging his character and saying, this is the man that I'm going to entrust my life to going forward. See, when I don't went and bought the house and I don't went and built the business and all this other kinds of stuff, you the race is finished. It's over. Now you want to come in and buy into what I've already built. That is selfish. That
It's
is selfish because when you was 19, 20, 21, 22, that's when you're supposed to present yourself as a wife to a husband. And that's what we're trying to get across. And we're not being mean spirited about it. If you're not getting married in your 20s, you're late to the party.
let me emphasize what Kev is saying. That's the cost of being risk averse. If the ladies are risk averse and they don't want to gamble, in their mind they see it as a gamble. That's perfectly okay. But when you get into this, it's going to cost you more. You're going to get less benefits. The women that jump on the train in their early 20s, their late teens, she deserve everything. If you trying to come along at 29, you get less. If you try to come along at 30 plus, now we really haggling. And so be it. Number one. Number two, adding to Sam ain't Payne ish, what he was saying also, you know, women file for 70 to 80% of divorces. The trust is because the lack of trust in men is because women file for 70 to 80% of divorces because of the finances. So if as Sam and Payne Ish was saying, if he already purchased the house, the reason why there's a lack of trust is because the women have proven to the men that they should not trust him. Because once again, the women fall for 70 to 80% of divorces based off of the men's lack of income or finances, according to the ladies. So why should the men trust the women? Oh wait, what that marriage rate look like again? Oh yeah, that's what I thought. Once again, like the numbers are showing why the men are moving the way they are. And I did click the link, Raj, and it only emphasizes what I was saying before. The men are the men are moving the way they are. The men are speaking the way they are. The men have a lack of trust in women because the women have proven themselves to be untrustworthy. They torpedo the marriage at 70 to 80%, not because of DV, not because of anything else, mainly because of finances.
Yeah, truth
It's
be
not
told,
cheating.
oh,
It's not DV. It's finances. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no. I didn't want to cut you off, but I'm gonna say I don't
Yeah.
think this has anything to do with trust. I think a woman came in late to the game. She didn't want to help me build nothing. She wanted me to get it on my own. And now that I got it on my own, now she want to act like I'm supposed to marry her as if I owe her something. I don't owe a woman squat. I am going to take care of the woman. She is not going to take care of me. When women end up in a position where they're better off than men, they like to leave those men. That is the pattern of women. So I don't care what women talking about. If you didn't help me get it, that's on you. You don't get rewards for stuff that you didn't help me get. If I win the lottery, I'm sharing it with the people who put it in the pool. I'm not sharing. I don't owe nobody nothing you didn't put into the pool.
Let me be the woman whisperer for a moment here, Raj. I need to do this because everyone's talking past each other. So let me do this for you. I'm gonna be the woman interpreter. What she's saying is she trusts that you're trying to protect yourself from getting fucked over so she can take your money, and she wants to take your money. Ultimately, that's kind of the game right now, and men are trying to find a way for it to not be that, but that's really what it is because all of these circular discussions surrounding marriage for women and money really is the root of it. That's what it always comes back to is how can they get your money? That's what it's about, man. Unfortunately.
No, I don't disagree with that, and I do see that. My thing is, I'm just saying straight up, and I think men need to do this often. Tell them you don't care. I don't care you showed up late. That's your problem to deal with. You know, you can't change the past. You know.
I'll give you a real life example. I've had a trust for about 5 years now, a little more, really closer to 10. So I've been running a LLC and a trust. Everything that I acquire goes into the LLC, which is run by the irrevocable trust. Every woman that I've dated, I let them know I don't own anything. If we have children, you ain't gonna get nothing. If we get married, you'll have the benefit of the trust as a beneficiary. It's a job. If we get divorced, you're going to get fired from the job.
Yeah, I see. I see that's where I want to chime in, and where people really need to get educated because a lot of times people really don't understand about wealth and wealth building. My job as a husband and as a father is to generate and build wealth for my children. It is not my job to build wealth and generate wealth for my wife. I need to make sure there's shelter, food, clothing, money for that for my wife. Yes. But when we're talking about wealth and assets, now we're talking about passing that down to children. And one of the reasons why it's hard for black families to pass down wealth is because women get in the way when you divorce. Men do not owe you wealth. Your father owed you wealth. Your mother and father was supposed to pass you down a home or pass you down some type of assets. That is not the responsibility of a husband. When a husband is to provide, he is supposed to provide finances for food or food on the table, shelter, and finances for clothing because women like to shop. A man is not supposed a husband's job is not to provide wealth to his wife. Wealth goes down to children, goes to the second generation. It is forward moving. It is forward moving, right?
Well,
And
I
the
want to speak
wife
to
is not
that when you get done.
well, hold
PK,
on.
let me say
Let me
this.
just
I'm about
land
to
it. Let me
drop.
land it
Oh,
here.
go ahead, go ahead.
Let me just let me. So a wife is not forward moving, and so now, men, when you're getting married, you're having children with the woman. When you're doing financial planning and estate planning, you now have to consider your wife an obstacle in passing down finances to your children. Because before it's the inheritance tax and things like that, you had the state, but now it's your wife also. So you also have to keep that in mind and be cognizant of that. And I'll land my plane there.
Let me say this real quick, PK. I'm Raj. I'm gonna
Go ahead.
drop
Go ahead.
in about 2 minutes. Let me make sure I say this. And to all of us, black folks, whether our ancestors were colonized, they went through slavery, any such or sort.
Dear black women, we can't be your reparations. The using men in marriage as a financial come up, not stability, right? Not entering the middle class in some type of stability. No, opulence. We can't be your reparations. It's not just in case of emergency break glass husband for the rich life. And if that's what the ladies want to boil it down to, then be prepared to pay the cost for that. And there's a heavy tax on that. And it's only a few men that can actually afford that anyway. But, if we're going to be delusional and generous here, I want to emphasize that. I want to get to the end point of what this actual argument about marriage, particularly concerning black people, is really about, because of how black women have been behaving for the past, 6 or so decades. Black men can't be your reparations. Taxing, and y'all hear me say this, there's a reason why I keep on going to this. Taxing black men for you not being politically and socially white women is costing you. I know some of y'all hear Z going off about this all the time. Y'all think I don't know what I'm talking about. I promise you I know what I'm talking about. So if y'all want to boil marriage down to, if he can't provide me with the opulence where I could be at work, I don't know why you're working at that point, but I could be at work looking down on Susie. If that's what you want to boil marriage down to, then it's going to cost you. And I'll pause right there. Thanks for
Well, I
having me
can
up,
tell you.
Raj. Go ahead.
Well, hold
Oh
fast,
no,
y'all.
Z, go ahead, go ahead, Z.
No. I got two other guests that then came up. So, and I'm just gonna say, look, y'all, your life before me, that's your problem. I don't care. I'm not saving your life before me. I don't care about your life before me. I just don't care. It's that simple at the end of the day. It's not my
I
job to
gotta
care.
address this, man. Come on, man. I gotta get this on.
Well, I got Shark Sims and Truth Teller that came up. I gotta get in the mic for an opening statement, but I'll get you in right behind them. Shark, go ahead, my brother.
Hey, how y'all doing, fellas? Happy
Doing well, brother.
Tuesday. Peace to the panel. Thanks, Roger, for bringing me up. I see we still talking about them, but I'm gonna get in that conversation with you. I don't see the purpose of being married unless, especially if I don't see the purpose in 2025. I don't see the purpose of being married if you don't have children. Point blank. Now, for homeboy who was on the whose girlfriend showed him the video and she left the house and all that, he could have easily flipped it and said, "Yeah, you could be on my stuff, but my name got to be on your stuff also." She would have changed her mind quick, fast. And the third thing I gotta say for that is, what felt, and y'all can answer the question for me. Just don't beat me up if I sound crazy. But what are you not getting now as a single man that you will get when you're married in 2025?
Well, the thing is, most men who get married, there are marrying to have a family. That is something that a lot of people don't want to pay attention to. And I'm gonna say at the end of the day, I think this came up because the girl who the woman involved in this marriage probably ain't got nothing. That's why she want to be on her husband's stuff.
So
She
why
probably
you
ain't got
Bing,
nothing.
bing,
marrying?
bing, 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 bing.
Why are you marrying a female who ain't? Why are you marrying a female who ain't got nothing to lose? You automatically setting yourself up for failure.
What the thing is,
Technically,
men do look for things different than what women look for at the end of
yeah,
the day.
yeah,
So
But
That's a
so
fact.
it's
you know,
yeah.
2025, men. We gotta start
but,
being thinkers now. Stop being lovers and start being thinkers.
I'm
Well,
saying a
we are
man.
thinking. We're not thinking about the same things. That's all. That's it. It's not. It's not that complicated. We're thinking about different things.
Yeah, and men need to take ownership of the decisions they make and why they're making the decision. Our issue is we've been taught to worry about what everybody else gonna get and not worry about what we getting. And that's why I'm
Hmm.
saying flat out, there is no complicated issue to this. The man bought a home before that woman was around. She wants to get in on that home so she can have some type of security blanket. I don't care you don't have a security blanket. I'm your husband. I'm your security blanket. If you don't trust me to be your security blanket, get out then. I ain't tripping.
And
Leave
so,
then.
but before I land my plane, my thing is too. If she asks you to put her name on everything and he said, well, this and that, and she's like, well, you already thinking of divorce. Why he just didn't say, well, you already thinking of divorce if your name needs to be on everything? I'm gonna be with you forever. Why you need your name on anything?
Well, that I mean that. Well, we don't know exact conversation they had with each other, but I do understand that's what the lady proposed. But my thing is, who cares if I'm your husband? You trust me. Trust work both ways. So since you showed up late, now you got the trust. I'm gonna do right by you. That's your problem, not mine. And I'm not finna make it my problem because I don't have to solve that problem. But go ahead, truth teller.
Alright, as a designated married nigga on the panel, I don't know if my other married brethren have jumped up yet. Okay, all right. Shark Sims, I agree with you completely. Honestly, at this point in time, there's really no point in marriage, even if you have kids, because they can exit it so easily and destroy the kids so willingly, so willfully. I mean, it doesn't even really matter at this point in time, right? There's nothing that holds them to their promise. So there's really no point to it at this point. Now, if you can find a good woman who's willing to at least have some kind of spiritual or social responsibility towards y'all relationship, great, you might consider doing it. But I'm gonna give y'all niggas from a financial analyst perspective of what the hell they talking about in that dumb clip. You, man, had your own house before you got married, whether you bought it the day before y'all got married or 20 years before y'all got married. Your girlfriend slash wife comes to you and say, "We together now. My name should be on the property." No, we should buy a new property together.
Facts.
That's you don't bring somebody into what you already have. You're supposed to build with that person. Now, if that person ain't got nothing, your next question should be, what is your contribution going to be to us building together? Now, if all they got is debts, you probably chose wrong. Maybe she got a big booty and she cute. I mean, depending on how you value things, that's on you, player. But it has nothing to do with what you gathered prior to the relationship. Marriage is an agreement that has to do with what you gain while in said relationship. Now, if your girlfriend slash, before you marry her, your fiance, let's say she has her own house, right? Because we were saying, well, we got to make sure we look at chicks that got something. Well, that's a problem, financially speaking, because most people don't buy houses cash. You have to take out a loan, which means that house is a liability until that loan is paid off. And normally the loans are from anywhere to 20 to now 45 years. Do you want to marry somebody that has that kind of liability for that long? Probably not, right? Because that means all her finances got to go to her property, not to your marriage. So now you got to consider a chick that got more, is she really going to be a benefit to me? Should I marry her? More than likely, I mean, they toast it up saying, yay, I got my own house, so I do my own thing. But that's nothing but a liability. That's a problem for you. Do you want to take on somebody else's problems? Good luck. Go ahead. And when you get divorced in 2 to 5 years, you holler at the boys and tell us not to make the same mistake.
Yeah, I mean, I wanna say something really quickly. Like, I definitely agree with Shark Sims and Truth Teller, despite them from being from New York. I agree. Like, we men have to do things differently in 2025. I would say if you need to feel the marriage, do a cultural marriage, do a religious marriage, but keep the marriage out of keep the state out of your marriage. Number two, uh, you got to look at her debt. You got to look at her debt income ratio, debt equity ratio. I mean, she could be having all types of assets, but she could be upside down. She could be upside down in her car. She could be upside down in her home, things like that. Like, men have to start looking, and then college loans on top of that. You really have to look at what she brings to the table. And if she has too much debt or any debt, depending on how old you guys are, then I would say pass. Now, if you're our 20s and y'all got school debt, cool, that's fine, that's normal, because it is good to be in a relationship where you struggle through life together. It bonds you together, it cements you together. But when we're talking outside of like recent college grads, Now you got to start thinking about finances, and you got to start thinking about finances in different ways. There's a reason why they tell poor people that men marry down and women marry up. Because when you look at financially savvy people, no one marries down, right? The dude from Paris Hilton, family is a billionaire. She married another billionaire, right? Dudes whose fathers are multimillionaires end up marrying women whose fathers are multimillionaires. They do not marry the Circle K girl. They do not marry the Walmart girl. So now I'm not saying you need to be like that, but if you come from a stable middle class family, then she needs to have stable middle income family finances. Men do stop doing that. This is the things that get us caught up and in debt and prevents us from passing down wealth. Your job is to pass down wealth to your children. Your job is not to give, and Mr. Z said it perfectly, reparations to a woman. That is not your job.
Now I'm
So
gonna
we're
say this.
skipping. Well,
Go ahead. Go
we're
ahead.
skipping. We're skipping steps. Well, I wanted to say something different earlier, but I don't know. I already forgot it because we
No.
done. Some people done chimed in. I forgot, but to address what what has been said by the other men on the panel just a second ago, man. I think we're skipping steps, quite frankly. If you're talking about a woman's finances, debts, and assets, et cetera, like you've already kind of jumped the shark. Quite frankly, you really shouldn't really be considering a woman post a certain age for marriage. And if she's got all these different things going on, quite frankly, she should have received them from her parents or something of that nature. If she's out there doing it on her own and making these decisions, then quite frankly, what you got on your hands is a modern woman, and you're making modern man kind of decisions at that point. You're doing some different shit. There really ain't no reason to have a discussion surrounding marriage at that point. You're
No,
doing
but no
something
matter,
different.
no,
That's
no
some modern
matter.
shit.
But
Hold
that's why I
fast.
said. That's why I said if
Hold
you're not
fast.
having a child with her, you shouldn't even be considering marriage.
Well,
Right,
I
but
mean,
no matter.
and that makes sense because marriage should be for having a family. But what I do want to do is like get to the root issue of today. Do you owe a woman anything who showed up after you've already acquired stuff? Because the thing is, a lot of men get into this, but we get into this over feelings. At the end of the day, the only reason that woman moved out is because she's upset because she's feeling some type of way about my husband ain't gonna let me put my name on that house. The question, why she want her name on the house in the first place?
Because she
She's
got
trying to
bad
make.
credit and she can't get home.
Well, I mean, you have a husband. What do you need your name on a house for at this point? You got a husband. Your husband has a house. We know you got a place to live. We know you was living in the house before you heard this stuff and got upset. So what's your issue at the end of the day? Why do you need your name on this house? The only reason I can even come up with why she would need her name on this particular house is because when they divorce, she needs to have a guarantee. She's trying to set up a guarantee for when they get divorced if it happens. And my thing is, you don't need no guarantee. If whatever
Stay
you put in the
married.
prenup was the only guarantee you're supposed to have. If you ain't do no prenup, which you probably didn't, because I don't believe she has anything, which is why she thought it was such a great idea when she heard this woman talking about, if you already got something, just because it's she said it. It's just because it's your second marriage, that don't mean you get to treat it there. You weren't there to help me get squat. And my thing is, black men need to understand it is not your job to help someone
I
to play catch
remember.
up. It's not your job to help a woman play catch up because she wasn't there to support you when you went through all the fire you had to go through to get where you at. Because we all
I
got our own
remember
personal
now,
fire to go through.
Roger.
Well, go
Real
ahead, brother.
quick,
Go
just
ahead.
since I remember now, I don't want to lose it again. Just real quick, thanks for letting me have a little bit of
No, I'm
elbow
saying,
room on
yeah,
this.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Look, something that's should be kind of correlated to this entire discussion that was kind of hinted at earlier with Mr. Z's statements surrounding finances and things of that matter. Like the thing that one of the things that we're not really paying attention to is the rise of what do they call them? These dinks things of that nature. These dual income, no children situations, as well as the creeping and climbing age of male and female marriage. There's a reason for that. It's because really the game here for most women is to try to acquire opulence for themselves in some way, shape, or form, getting that money using marriage as the tool by which they conduct the resource, the thievery. That's all this is. That's really all it is. No women want to come out and say it like that, but that's what's going on right now. I mean, there's a whole host of amounts of data points that you can look at and see that that's what they're doing. There's a reason why birth rates are in the shitter. It's not for no reason. But
I
yet,
mean,
women's incomes are climbing. Come
yeah,
on, man.
they're not climbing. That's what
Well, no, no,
people
no,
keep
not their
saying.
individual incomes. Their incomes from divorce.
Listen, every single rich woman has never earned it herself. Very few of them have ever earned it. They've all inherited it from their husbands. It's like single digit percentage of them that or fathers, right? There's a single digit of them that ever became millionaires on their own effort. That's just how it always has been. That has never changed. So if you think it's suddenly going to be different now than it has been for the last, 5,000 years, I'm sorry, you're going to be fooled. All right, it just is what it is. Now they don't want to die alone and they don't want to die broke. We get it. So their last ditch effort is to marry some dude who's willing. And you know what? I ain't gonna knock the nigga that's willing. Because if he's gonna accept, he don't want no more kids, and he wants somebody that's just gonna roll it out until he go. Hey, let them. I have no problems with that. All I'm saying is, there's not too many of them dudes around. So all these chicks that's trying to make that happen, they gonna have problems, and let them enjoy their problems is all I'm saying. There's not that many dudes that want to roll out with these chicks like that in old age. Most old niggas don't even want to get remarried. If they've been married for most of their life, they're not trying to remarry in their old age. They go into a home or they die alone at the crib.
Now, let me say, shout out to Black Rule Strikes. He says he should. Now he's talking about the guy that's the subject matter, y'all. He said he should feel relieved she left because she proved she did not marry him to be with him. She married him to cash out at her earliest convenience. And I'm gonna say, shout out to the way Black Rule put that, because to me, that's exact. I 100% agree with that. And the thing is, some woman gave her an idea that you could somehow cash out early by just simply putting her name on the stuff right now, and she totally went for it and made it an issue. So at the end of the day, as men, you have to ask yourself a question. Is it your job to solve all her problems she had before she married you? Or is it your job to allow her to link up with you while you're doing new things? Because my thing is, I'm not here to fix your past. I'm here to move my future forward. If you want to move your future forward with me, we can talk about that all day long. But I'm not worried about your past situation. I don't care what assets you have or don't have when I got into the picture. That's you at the end of the day. And truth be told, Truth Teller made a great point too. And this is why I've said for years, once a woman buys a house, that's pretty much her showing she gave up. And I know people don't necessarily catch that when I say it, but why she buy a house? Because she don't expect to ever get a husband. So it's like, let me go and get a house because I'm not going to get one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just real talk. And he's saying the real behind it. If she did purchase a home, that home got to be paid for it. Just because you married don't mean the bill disappear. The house going to get
Here's
paid
a
for while
fun
you married to
fact:
her.
most of the women who actually obtain houses obtain them through divorce, bro. That's a little known fact. That's just that's
true too.
No, that is true, but I don't want it to be misconstrued that once a woman buys a home, she's pretty much already given up on when it comes to marriage. She knows it ain't really happening. It's not. It's over with at that point.
So what happens? So you got to think about it, right? Logically speaking, she purchases the house. She's not going to put her husband's name on that house. Hell, most of them don't even want to put their kids' names on their house, much less a dude they're about to marry. So fine, I bought this house, but now I'm with my husband and I moved in with my husband. But you know what? I got my own house, so if anything pops off, I could always go back to my own house. Fine. But now you married and your finances are supposed to be linked, which means how much ever you paying towards that house means the income that you guys together is coming out of your now group income. Because once you're married, the court sees all the money you make as group income. So if you have to pay towards your house with your group income, but he doesn't have any say on that house, that's a red flag. There's no reason for a woman to have her own house if she doesn't have a family. Most men don't buy almost all men don't buy a house unless they have a family to put in it, because there's no other reason to purchase a home. If it's just you, you can actually rent and save money doing that for the rest of your life. You ain't got no
That's
family to leave a house to.
that's
What's the
true.
point of having it? Right?
And
So
that's another thing. Sorry, I'll go after you.
yeah, go ahead. No, I'm
Well,
done.
that's another thing. Houses ain't really what they used to be anyway. So I would pause on buying a house. There's other ways to earn money or save money or preserve your savings from inflation. Because you can do better renting, because even when you buy a house, you still have property tax.
Man, listen, I'll tell you guys after the show how every married couple can purchase a house and have it paid off in 5 years. But you got to
Yeah,
be
but you still
committed.
have property tax. You still have property
Yeah,
tax. So,
property
like,
taxes are usually somewhere between 2 and 3% of the value of the property. It's not that much.
oh, do you live in a poor neighborhood? Because it should be
Nah, I
My
like
was a
that.
poor. I was
neighborhood is
nah.
more like
No, he said
6 or 7.
2 to 3%. He said two.
Yeah, it should be like
No,
that. Yeah,
no. It
you
just
still
it depends on the state. It depends on the state, the county. Now I lived in Palm Beach County, and it's higher than that. But
It's
the
high in Palm
average,
Beach. Yeah.
yeah,
but
the
Palm Beach
average
is like
nationwide.
13%.
Okay,
No. It's not.
y'all
It's
did
not,
that.
bro.
It
Arguing
ain't that
about
high.
where you live and
Yeah,
what the
it ain't
percentage
that.
rate gonna be ain't gonna really help toward the show, because the issue is men have to learn to just simply say no to stuff a woman didn't qualify for. If you didn't help me get it, why would I worry about you getting a piece of that? It just don't make sense at the end of the day. You don't need none of this action. You weren't there. I mean, shout out to Vanessa Bryant. People mad at her because she got control of what's going on with Kobe after Kobe passed away. But at the end of the day, she was at least with him when he was in the gym. Now she didn't go to the gym with him, but she was at least making sure the kids were straight. She was at least making sure the food was cooked. She was at least taking care of any assignment that Kobe asked her to do. Vanessa done made it plain that anytime Kobe asked her to do something, she handled. Now it's on
Yep.
Kobe how much work he actually asked her to do, but she at least did it. A woman who want to put her name on property and she wasn't there when you purchased it, she didn't do none of that work. Why are we? This shouldn't even be considered. It shouldn't
Right.
even be considered. Real talk. But we
And
got the name of the protagonist just stepped up, so I got to get him the mic. Go ahead, name it.
To the chat and the instructors on the panel. Os. Okay. Okay. Rock with me with this thought experiment. And I'll treat it like a thought experiment, but I think this is worth considering. So I would posit, because the title of the show is The Marriage Hustle. I think that the marriage hustle is a byproduct of the commoditization of human relationships. And this is just one of those many byproducts of it. And I'll qualify it by saying this. When you run down the line of symmetry between purchasing a mortgage and getting involved in a modern marriage post 1950, but post 1970 in particular, the behaviors are more similar than they are different. To the point where if you examine one of the critical factors of a mortgage, which is your interest rate, I would make the argument that the overwhelming majority of marriages, what's being called a relationship, is nothing more than a non-fixed rate argument over the actual interest rate that maintains the relationship. Governed by Briffelt's law, what you have is a constant renegotiation in the form of a, quote, relationship, where you're deciding what the interest rate of the marriage is going to be. And when you take into consideration that the overwhelming majority of the divorces are happening and initiated by women, and that goes up substantially if the woman has a college education. What is being called relationships right now are nothing more than commodified arguments over the interest rate to maintain the marriage. What that means then is when you go through the so-called ceremony, buying a house, you've got your housewarming. Getting involved in a marriage, you've got your wedding. When you want to initiate it all, you make your down payment. There you are with your engagement ring. When you get involved with establishing these things, normally you have to go through an official body or bureau. For marriages, it's usually the state. And if you're in a situation where you've cohabitated for a long time, there are various laws depending on the state that will treat it as though it's a de facto marriage. But what's key in both of these things is that what makes it truly commodified is the prospect of default for the mortgage. For those of you in real estate, you're very well aware of that. And for the marriage, the financial prospect is in divorce. When you break down the actual money in these things, there's an argument to be made that as it relates to mortgages, there's more money in default than there is in the actual sale. And in many instances with marriage, there's more money in the divorce than the marriage itself. And if we understand that the relationship is serving as a negotiation of the interest rate, the video you posted, Roger, makes complete and total sense in that context. She was renegotiating the interest rate of the marriage. And when she wasn't satisfied, she made a move to terminate and move towards divorce.
I think that's a fair point because for sure, there's definitely more money in divorce, especially on the female side, because you get a lot of equity, right? You get a lot of equity and you get a lot of equity for shit you haven't even done. So I mean, I get your point. She was negotiating interest, but probably more apropos negotiating the terms. But when the negotiation fell, because basically what she was trying to do, she was trying to negotiate her exit contract. Because when like people that know business, when you're writing a contract with your partner, right? You have your entry and exit point, right? So we'll break this contract. We'll no longer be partners under these conditions. So she was negotiating her exit strategy.
Correct.
And
Let me rock that. Let me build that point because that's why I brought that up specifically in the time period I brought it in, because that's when no fault divorce was first introduced. And by the time we get to the 1980s, most of the other states have adopted no fault divorce, which is where we get that first emotional piece, followed by the leading cause of divorce by far is argued to be finances. So we're back again to this pattern that I wanted to present for you guys to examine after a while, because the behavior becomes very predictable after that. Once you can understand that this is essentially nothing more than a commodity, and the relationship is serving as a renegotiation of the interest rate, the way in a mortgage you would renegotiate with the bank and have refinance options, etc., predicated on your income levels.
Right. So
Can I dumb this down?
I want to let my
go ahead.
plane jump.
Yeah.
That's what I want to circle back to, is that we got the game I want to speak to the hustle. We got the game effed up. First and foremost, men, you do not owe your wife wealth. You owe your children that. And women, it is your mother's fault. It is your mother's fault that you did not grow up wealthy. She was young and she had a sweet piece of pie and she sold it for a bad deal. I'm sorry, it sounds so vulgar, but at the end of the day, that is it. And now you coming to me on the run that back play. No, my job is to pass equity and wealth to my children. And so when you coming to me trying to refinance whatever, look, my children are my blood. You are not. Land the plane.
I would say to that, man, you should pass your wealth to your sons. Your daughter should learn how to become wise so that they can
No,
acquire.
I mean,
They,
you
they
gotta
can
give her a little
acquire.
something, man. You gotta give her a little something. Come
Man, listen, man. I got a son and a daughter. My son getting everything. If my daughter
on. I
don't learn
feel
how to
you.
be
I
a
feel
wife,
you.
she don't deserve nothing.
No, I disagree with that.
I
Like a
wanted to.
son,
I
Hold on,
wanted to do something for the.
before y'all go down that road, let me read this from Black Rule, and then Truth Teller, I'll give it to you. Shout out to Black Rule Strikes. He said even though he bought the house prior to marriage, the wife could still share in the increase in value of the house if she helps to pay the mortgage or helps make make the mortgage payments. I guess he was meant to say
Right.
that or help make valuable improvements to the home. So she could share
And
in some of that.
Well,
Well,
right,
that's the
ain't
and
nothing
she
law.
else
wouldn't
you can
get,
do with that.
and she wouldn't qualify it in divorce. She would qualify for it at the will,
There's a lot of
right?
stuff that
So,
needs to be talked about what Nameless just mentioned. And when you speak about no
well,
fault
I
divorce,
will hold on before you go because I wanted to for the dumb niggas like me. I wanted to just sum up what Nameless said because I don't think y'all understand how profound it was. This nigga said the the attitude interest rate is going to cause the property you purchasing to automatically default. And y'all niggas is going to lose all that money and time. That's what the nigga just said in a nutshell. It's a variable attitude rate, by the way, not a fixed.
You picked it up, Truth.
It's crazy.
well, some even it's even
Good
worse.
going,
It's
neighbors.
even worse than that. And there's no analog for what happens next after that first explosion. Because not only does that happen, she then gets to go and run that play again on the next man. So it's even more damning. It's catastrophic, truthfully. This is a part of the reason why I said modern marriages today, quite frankly, ought not really be happening for the most part. They shouldn't because he's 100% correct. That's what's happening. And we miss the fact that a multitude of things came along during the 1970s, along with no fault divorce. Women also joined the workforce at much higher rates. They also got access to more banking rights and things of that nature. So, and credit cards and access to credit lines. It's not by accident. This all happened in the same era, in the same time.
All right. Well, now I'm gonna say again, I've never had a problem with marriage. So it's just the issue that some of the wrong people are involved in marriage. Truth be told, and I know people don't take it serious when I say it, but if you talking to a woman, you should let her know if y'all get married, when this marriage ends, one of us will be dead. If she doesn't accept that as a real term, I doubt you're gonna get a good marriage from her. That don't mean something bad got to happen. It just means somebody got to die. If it ain't that serious, why make a lifelong commitment to a person who doesn't plan to keep a lifelong commitment? How does that make any level of sense? I think I've said plenty of times, women do communicate to us. We just don't be paying attention to the communication that they give us. They tell us what time it is, but a lot of us, we have egos where we just don't want to listen to what time it is. And we listen to some stupid our mama told us back in the day, and you try to go talk to her about it. Well, she didn't really mean that. She did mean it. That's why she said it. She's gonna make sure she good no matter what. If I get married, any woman that I'm interested in like that, she is gonna know well before marriage is even on the table. If our marriage ends, one of us is definitely dead. Just understand that. You know,
I want to give y'all some advice. The young dudes listening, this is something I tell my sons um, when they talking to chicks and they thinking about getting serious. Check her credit score, player. Now, that's just the first step. If she don't got a 750 or better, you may need to reconsider going in that direction. All right. Now, if she got a 720, 750, you need to work with her to pull her credit report so you can see what the hell she been doing these last 7 years. You'll be surprised what a credit report will show you about the habits of women and how they spend their money. and what they do with their bank accounts and where's the money going and what they buying. Look in their closet, you see shoes and purses. And she always broke. So, sometimes as men, we do need to investigate a little bit because taking on a woman as your wife is a very big, basically you're taking on the responsibility of managing, taking care of, protecting, and overseeing another human being. And there is no grace given to you if there's problems that you don't take care of. There's
Yo,
no grace for us.
like
So
Well, you
truthfully, that's why I
shouldn't. You
was asking
shouldn't.
the question. Like, as a single man in America in 2025, what are you not getting that you're going to get when you get married, other than a whole bunch of more responsibilities, and you getting the same thing you was getting when you were single. You're still getting the
Well,
head.
you
You're still getting the
Well,
sex. You're
no,
still
no,
getting the
hold fast,
companionship. You're still getting all of that.
no. My thing is, if we want to talk about why to get married and why not to get married, that deserves its own conversation. This is about a woman who got in the marriage. Man's doing good. Think about it, y'all. Man's doing well. He has a home, and her problem is she can't get her name on the home. The man is doing good things if he has a home. So now she got a problem with the man who got the house. You see what I'm saying? And I've
Yeah,
tried to tell y'all before that a lot of women they create these issues for us, and if you really pay attention to them, the stuff they say don't make no sense. You have a problem with a man who had enough discipline to purchase a home. Where does that make sense at?
no,
Well,
I
the
feel
thing
you,
is,
Roger,
is
but
the why
that
does
is
a
the hustle
man
right
why
there.
why no, hold on real quick. Why does a man purchase a home in the first place? You see, he's got an idea because the world has fed him an idea, and also because unfortunately we created a bad environment by which we have these things taking place because society is set up foundationally at this particular moment to scam men. It's a trap right now. Marriage in and of itself is a trap right now. A lot of men don't know that, but I'm just going to say it plainly so no one gets it misconstrued. Um, he had the idea that he was going to be a traditional family man and raise a family in a home. That's what you're supposed to do if that's what you're looking to do. Take on a wife, make some babies, have a home. That's what you're supposed to do. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that on its face. However, the society isn't currently supporting that model. We've eschewed that and thrown it out in favor of the more fucked up model, which is, excuse me, let me curb the language. My bad. But the model that we're using right now, which is just holistically a scam from top to bottom. We're trying to take and fleece men for as much as we possibly can on every level. And one of the ways by which it takes place is in the institution of marriage. So, I mean, he doesn't realize it's a scam, but hopefully he realizes it is now if he's not gaslit by the society.
Well,
Can I
and
say something, please?
let me say this, and you got it next. I'm gonna say the attitudes is what's turning marriages into a hustle, and I think as men we need to let go of the guilt. Women throw stuff out like this because they know men feel guilty about things. You should have no guilt. What she couldn't accomplish before she married you is her problem. If the fact that she got to marry you ain't seen as enough of a win, don't worry about no woman who leave the house. She gonna get out there. She gonna cheat. Divorce of a cheating. Call it a day. Keep your stuff. It's that simple at the end of the day. Don't overcomplicate it because it ain't. You know. Go ahead.
Well, how can I say that? This is a modern problem that requires a primitive solution. The main reason why we are taking all these precautions, I heard someone mention trust. I don't know if anyone mentioned prenup. Roger don't want her name on his asset that he accumulated before the marriage. The main reason why we are taking all these precautions is because deep down, us men, we know that we are dealing with a bunch of cotton, scheming, plotting thieves. Modern women, and I'm using the word women loosely, are just a bunch of thieves. And in order for us to deal with them, we are taking extra precaution to not lose everything that we have worked hard for. They don't they don't play the short theft game, they play the long theft game. Men who are getting married are getting robbed on a daily basis. The biggest thieves under this blue sky are women. It's not the scammers who are calling your phone. It's not even Bernard Madoff. It's them.
All right, y'all. Hold fast. We got another guest up. We got Leonard who's up. So Leonard, you got a 2-minute opening statement. Go ahead.
Okay. Only after 10 years of marriage in the majority of the states are you required to split assets. Anything under 10 years, you're good. You're good. In the realm of like the home and all this other stuff, if you had it before you all got married, I know for sure in the state of Georgia, if you had it before you got married, you weren't married for 10 years, she just got to go. That's it. You see your mama, do what you do, wherever you do it, someplace else under another roof. If the man dies, the home goes to his children, and the children have to do documentation for the wife, their mother, to get the home. That's in Georgia. It's Georgia is different, but it's different in a good way. At least fellas don't get robbed and ran over.
Well, hold on 1 second, because in the clip, the woman don't have any rights to anything. She's asking for her name to be put on the property.
Oh,
That's
that's
what
on the
the issue
man.
is. She's asking for her name to be put on property, and because the guy so far hasn't said yes, she done moved out.
Bye,
Lawyer
Felicia.
up and get her gone. That's an easy fix.
Bye, Felicia.
That's a very easy fix. Yeah, that's a situation like that. I'm unhappy. I'm this. I'm that. I'm da. You doing this. You doing that. I'm like, you could just go because.
No. She decided to go already. It ain't even he got to tell her to leave. She already.
Right. That's the
She
thing.
came
That
to
makes
that
it
on her
easier.
own. She came down on her own. So obviously, what you're saying is she left. Leave her out there.
Leave her. Go lawyer up in grounds of abandonment. That's what they call that. Because she left. So you can get her for abandonment. And that's what men need to start doing. Men need to start filing divorce and be the petitioner instead of being a respondent. Because I learned through personal experience, whichever person files first wins.
How about, and this is just my opinion, man, just don't do it in the first place. Just don't do it.
Well, we'll have a show about should a man get married or not, because that needs its own slotted time. You know what I'm saying? We can't get to that in a couple minutes. And I only do 3-hour shows, but that deserves the whole 3 hours if a man should get married in the first place.
Yeah, and that's somebody's personal decision. I wouldn't even try to even.
We ain't gonna discuss that today because it's too much to discuss in
Oh
that.
yeah.
That'll get his own show. But now my thing is this. To me, the only reason that you would go put a woman's name on stuff you had before you met her, or you acquired this stuff before you married her, is some form of guilt. You're buying into propaganda about black men not being there. Because let's be realistic. I can meet you and I can become your best friend. You gonna give me half your house?
See, and that's one of the things I would bring up. If it's a young couple, right? And by young, I mean under 25, and they're venturing off into what they think this is marriage, and if it works for a lifetime, beautiful. If it doesn't, okay, you learn something. But when you get to be of age and you get married and you putting their name on stuff, you are boo-boo the fool. Because I'm like this. You didn't help me build any of my castle. You just doggone somebody that's in it. I put you in my castle. That don't mean that you were deserving of the castle if anything happens to me. Hell no.
Well, I think this is my opinion, man. Look, I'm more traditional in my thought process. Maybe it's my background. I'm not sure, but I'm very strict on certain ideas and expectations of a wife. And quite frankly, any earnings or anything of that nature is supposed to come to me. Any sort of additionals, like a home or a car, like these things will be allotted to you in the case that I die and through my children, through the fact that we had children. You're not entitled to them by virtue of the fact that you were just with me. Like that's not how this works. Otherwise, what was the purpose behind us getting married in the first place? You understand? I don't see it. I don't know. Like that's some modern shit where people are trying to do all these extra, I guess, progressive steps towards different ideas around what they want marriage to be. But I think that, in my view, one of the main purposes behind getting married is obviously children and family. So if that isn't on the table and you're worried about property and how exactly it should be divvied up at any point during the marriage, and there are no children involved, then quite frankly, you're out of pocket. You're out of pocket, and I probably shouldn't have married you.
Well, that's
Like I said, I don't think you should be married in this climate currently under really almost any circumstances. There are very few, unless you're in a very traditional sect or set of people or community. I don't really see sound reasoning behind why a man should or a woman should be getting married in this modern day climate. I don't see it.
I see why a woman should get married though. She got everything to gain.
Now,
Oh yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. I just mean like if they got they're decent people.
hold on, y'all. We not having that conversation today on should or should. We having a conversation on stuff that's actually going on. Cause we got a man who done married a woman and his woman upset. Yeah, and it ain't like she the only woman that got upset. He's just the guy that wrote in about his woman being upset. It ain't like somebody else heard that got the same issues too. So the thing is, as men, what should we think about something like this? A woman's supposed to help you build your life, the whole thing. Everything she didn't show up to build, should you care she missed out on it? She cheated you by not being there when you was 18. Now, let's say you married her at 23. Well, if you got some stuff by 23, she don't deserve it. If you had to wait till you was 30 to marry her and you got some stuff, she don't deserve it because she didn't help you build it. At 45, did she help you build it? At the end of the day, we're doing women a favor by marrying them in the first place. Yeah, we get some benefit out of it, but we're not going to get the same benefit as them. As men, we accept that. So why would I try to play catch up for a woman who showed up late? Why does that make sense to anybody? It is not your job as a husband to catch your wife up because she was still thotting in the streets instead of being married to you. Because that's all it really turns into, if you ask me. I got a woman. We get married. Let's say she's 30 years old. So she's been out there hoeing in the streets for 12 years instead of being my wife and helping me get stuff. And I'm supposed to now reward her because she spent 12 years hoeing in the streets?
I'm gonna get at you, Roger. You fuck around and marry her.
Somebody
Look,
gotta pay for it, Roger.
No, bro. It shouldn't be no man. No man should pay for that. Look, listen. If you're number one, you shouldn't even. Woman, that. Oh my God, bro. God, look, bro.
I'm trying to put it in a realistic context about what we're
there
actually
ain't no
discussing.
realistic context in which you can fly that by me, and that makes sense, bro. A 30-year-old married?
No. I don't know the ages of the people involved, but I'm just throwing it out there. If she's 30, she's been 18. She was 18 for 12 years. Ain't no telling what she been out there doing if she ain't no virgin. And that's just reality.
Well, the thing is this.
Hold on. Every woman can claim she a good girl, but can't none of them prove it past virginity. And that's just the reality of it.
Yeah, but the thing is this. Everybody has a past, but you don't want somebody's past up in your face.
No, hold on. We're not changing the conversation.
I'm not changing the conversation.
This is what I'm saying. It's not about her past. It's about she want her name on my stuff. I got this stuff and you wasn't around. Why would I put your name on my stuff when you was out there doing whatever you was doing? And now you want me to reward you for being absent for 12 years. Let's say I'm 32. I was
Oh my
18 and you
God.
was 18. I had to do it on my own for 12 years, and you just now coming into the picture, and I'm supposed to put your name on my stuff like you helped me the last 12 years?
The first mistake is you considered a 30-year-old, but that's, jokes aside, man.
No, but I'm trying to make a point though. I'm
You're
trying to
just
I
missing
get
the
make a
it.
whole.
point.
Yeah, you're just missing the whole point. So he's
Yeah.
trying to make.
I mean, considering a 30-year-old, what a 30-year-old man's supposed to
No,
marry
no,
an
that's not his
18-year-old woman?
That's
point.
not the
That's
point.
not his point.
I
The
know.
age.
The brother that was speaking, I understand his point. He worked. It's the same thing I said. I built my castle. You are residing in my castle. You are not deserving of any of my castle.
You know why
You
you
didn't help
keep
me
dwelling
build
on
it.
the 30-year-old part? We
So
get it.
can I still
It's
can
just
I
funny.
still
But
put
Rod,
so
sorry, go ahead, Sean.
can I put on my health insurance at least?
Bargaining phase. I love it. I love
We
it.
will we will allow for the health insurance, sir. We ain't gonna get you on that.
Let's see
But I
you
mean,
as a
that would be
helper so
like,
she
yeah,
can
if
perform.
it's a stay at homer, but if it's an employed person, they should be employed enough to have their own health insurance.
Yeah.
God damn, you
At the
harsh
end of the
player.
day,
Jesus.
she
Now,
needs
hey, listen, man,
she needs
you
to
gotta
be
at least get
healthy.
us some Aflac or something, bro. Come on,
Oh,
man.
she needs to be healthy to perform her duties in the marriage. Okay, she needs to be healthy. How you gonna cook, clean, have sex with me on a regular basis? Make sure the laundry is done, help the kids with the homework and all that, and you're not healthy yourself. So sure, the health insurance is a benefit of being married to me. That's totally workable. Nothing wrong with that at all. But the thing
Thank you,
is,
Rob.
do I feel guilty enough to give some woman something that she wasn't there to help me get? Because at the end of the day, y'all, marriages are supposed to happen when people are young. So if I had to go through life without your help, just because you showed up late, don't mean I'm gonna reward you because you showed up late. You late. There's a
Yep,
late fee to go with everything.
yep. And this
Hmm.
circles back to what we were talking about in the beginning. The problem, particularly with black women, they want to show up at the finish line and they want to claim all the prizes. No, no, absolutely not.
I know
Well, one of
someone
the
that
ways in the past in which women used to have their, themselves secured was through things like, bride price as well as what's that shit called? When people often describe bride price, but they're using the wrong terminology. It's
The
called,
dowries,
yeah, the
the
dowry.
dowries.
The dowry. That's what the dowry is for. Like, you're supposed to get that from your fucking parents. That's what's supposed to be secured for the family, and your name should be split for any reason. That's what that's supposed to be for. Look, my shit is not your shit. Okay? Like, that's not how this is supposed to work at any point.
yeah, like I said,
So I mean,
I
like, people
know.
got some weird
I'm
modern
sorry.
interpretations behind the way things are supposed to be going. Sorry, go ahead, man.
Yeah, well,
Black women,
I know a black woman that it didn't work out because she didn't do the name thing. See, she bought the house and she did this, she did that, all this other stuff, right? They were married. 7 years into the marriage, he kicked the bucket. Okay. Now, had she done the insurance on the property right, the property would have been paid for because he kicked the bucket. But she didn't do that. So where's the doggone win on that? There wasn't one. And then when you start doing home improvements and getting these other things done, trying to keep up with the neighbors, this one went in crazy. I still look like, okay, are you done paying for the house yet? I mean, the house, you've been in the house for 34 years. Are you done paying for it yet? You know,
If
yeah,
her husband died, I can see it
crazy.
taking a little longer. I can see that taking a little longer. If her husband died and she ain't never got with nobody else that's going to financially care to help her, that I can see that taking a little longer of a time. Late fees, penalties, and you missed this month or whatever. Yeah, I can see that taking longer. But at the end of the day, you know, everybody got to pick their poison when it comes down to it. And I think black men who really have a guilt complex about what goes on with black women need to hear stuff like this and need to just come with the fact that, bro, her time before she marries you just don't belong to you.
yeah.
And why be willing to accept? I don't care if you don't have a home already. You're with me now. You have a home. So why is this something I need to concern myself with? If you don't trust me and you think that you don't truly have no home, that's a personal issue. I don't care. You know, that woman leaving, I wouldn't chase you down. I'd just stop talking to you. And
I
that's real
want
talk. I don't need
I
to
want
discuss nothing with you if you're gonna leave because you can't get your name on the property. That's not what I thought I was signing up for anyway.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Kevin.
well, I want to make a comment toward the dowry because that goes along with what I was saying before. I have a 25-year-old daughter and a 21-year-old son. I'm telling you, my son will inherit just about everything. What you do is there should be a bride price for your daughter because see, she's supposed to be able to go out and acquire a worthy husband. You don't give your daughter nothing. You give her husband what you got set aside for her because he's sticking his neck out to marry her ass. I mean, it doesn't matter if she's your daughter. She's a woman just like all the rest of these women, and the same rules apply.
Well, the dowry is for her protection in case the marriage don't work out, right? That's what it's for. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
I
you
get
can
that,
give her
but if she don't get married, she ain't get nothing.
right,
But
right. The dowry is only for marriage. But what I'm
the
saying
thing
is, she
is,
gets married.
I've
Sorry,
looked
go ahead.
into dowries. Sometimes it's the guys paying the dowry. Sometimes it was the woman paying the
Yeah.
dowry.
Yep.
Well, no,
So
that's why I said
depends.
those are two different concepts. That's why
Yeah,
I tried to make a distinction. One is one
Yeah.
thing, and one is another thing. Bride price and dowry are two separate things.
Two separate things. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And my
Dowry is
thing
to the
is,
man. Remember this, just so that you know for the future. Dowry is paid to the man. Okay. Bride price is paid to the woman. That's the difference.
Right.
now, now,
Okay.
now I'm gonna say
And
since neither one of those are really popping off in the American context. At the end of
You
the day, I don't
wish.
care about your personal issues, about what family you came from and all that. When it comes to me marrying you, you don't get to catch up with me just because we got married. The same way I can't realistically uh think that you finna pay 34,000 to even catch up with me. Because you know when the young lady Lena asked that question about, well, what if the woman pays into it? Well, if you paying $1,000 on a mortgage and you only put 10,000 down on the home, you already backed up $34,000. Now this is gonna affect the marriage if you do it. If you don't have the money in cash to just quote unquote catch up, which the average woman in America does not have. Anything you do is going to affect the marriage anyway. You gonna go get a loan to pay me 35,000 and still got to be paid during our marriage? What advantage did I get?
well, there is one way, and I've been saying this for a few weeks. Any woman that I live with currently in the last 10 years, if she has a job, her money's going to be deposited into my account because I'm going to make sure that that money is going toward the household and not toward their foolishness. So if you can work that out, well, hey, listen, if we're married and we're all one, it's all going into the
No,
same pot.
no.
I'm gonna make sure that this money goes where it needs to go to do what it needs to do. I'd be willing under that type of circumstance, depending on how deep I am into that house and how much equity I already got. But to share your point, most of them can't catch up to the equity anyway, even still. So I get it.
Yeah, I'm just saying realistically, who's going to really be able to play catch up without it also damaging what you have in the marriage right then? Because the only way for her to truly play catch up is more than likely she's going to have to go borrow some money to do that. And once you borrow the money and y'all married, the money got to be paid back. You have not got anything. Only thing you
True.
got was an extra headache. You ain't actually gained anything. Because now you got her putting in the 34,000 to play catch up with you. And we only talking about 2 years of payment with $1,000 mortgage, and you only put 10,000 down. And guess what? That where she loaned that money from, they charging interest.
I do want to point out one
I want to
thing though.
speak
I
to
saw in
something.
that clip.
Well, truth, you started first. Go ahead and then PK after truth.
She did have a
Okay.
co-signer.
But
Didn't.
after that, we're gonna have Champ Car for Life get in because he done came up and
Oh,
ain't made an
okay.
open statement
What
yet.
up,
Then
champ?
I'll go after Champ, I guess.
There you go.
So I'm just gonna say this: she did have a co-signer in that video. He ain't look like us, but it's good enough that he's close enough. and that's something else we got to watch because while I was at her cosign in this particular situation, there's a whole bunch of levels we got to explore with that. But he still got to be held accountable.
Yeah, so I just wanted to speak to what who I don't know who everyone's name that was speaking, but it was the man before Roger started speaking. Whatever he said about giving his daughter a dowry, and you mentioned that earlier when you were speaking to ISOS, I believe, and where he I think what that really comes down to, and this is just my opinion, this isn't to like levy any sort of accusations towards him, but from my own understanding of the concept, a lot of that comes down to whether or not you desire a patriarchal standard for your family and whether or not you want to continue that on into the future. And I think sometimes men don't think about the second and third order consequences of what it is they do with their children. And I talked about this not too long ago when I was speaking about another concept, but it fits here as well. We think that girls and boys ought to receive the same outcomes and things in life, and that just isn't the case. They have different expectations. They should have different standards and upbringings as well, fit to their sex, period. And I think that that rubs a lot of men the wrong way because men that oftentimes have daughters and men that, are aspiring for daughters or equality or some sort of, nonsense of that nature oftentimes don't really care to have a patriarchal standard, and they end up reaping what they sow ultimately over time. Unfortunately,
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, he may be down with that because we're gonna do a whole show about that too. Because that just falls in line with the show I've done multiple times, but I'm gonna do it again, so it's on record. The show I be doing called Check Please. He's 100% right on where that money's supposed to go. And that woman don't want to play that game with you. She don't have to be there. She ain't got to get nothing. It is what it is. Aretha Dirty, make it on your own. And I think black men used to need to learn how to be cool with allowing a woman to make it without a husband. Now people say, well, but the stats they do poor without a. Who cares, man? So what? They want to live a life without a husband. More power to you. Have at it. Have fun. Enjoy it. At the end of the day, you don't have to be rich to enjoy yourself. She'll be all right. But my thing is to have ideas like the one that was in that clip. People are trying to get black men comfortable with getting some woman to play catch up in life. That's just not your daughter, number one. That's the only the only woman you really should feel like that you want her to play catch up in any kind of way. I understand if you have a daughter and you trying to get rich for your daughter's old enough to figure out what's really going on. I get that. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay because you just want your daughter to see you a certain way. But a woman that you married to, why should you have to play catch up with a woman that already married you? She already accepted who you actually are. And my thing is, Nameless made a great point to say it's her trying to renegotiate the terms. She accepted me on who I was when she married me. So now, 2 years later, you want to say who I am ain't good enough no more? There is nothing for me to rescue in this situation. I shouldn't have married you. Now what I got to do was look in the mirror and take some hard thoughts on why I married this wrong woman. That's the only thing I can really get from this. I really messed up. How did I make such a horrible decision to marry this chick? But let me get a flow to Champ Call for life because he had his opening statement. Go ahead, my brother. You got it.
Good morning, brothers. I hope you all are having a good Tuesday. Where I'm at is raining pretty hard, but what I expected here in Missouri. Roger, let's talk about marriage. Marriage used to be sacred than everything else. Man and woman, you walk down the aisle in church, whether it's the pastor, preacher, priest, death do us part and everything. But today, the institution of marriage has really been destroyed. It really has. It's instead, if you get married for 5, 10 years, the woman is getting ready, is going to file for divorce for irreconcilable differences, and depending on your financial status, she's going to get 50% of your life of your savings, of all that hard work that you've done and everything else. And it's because of it, a lot of men have just checked out and just said, you know what, I've got my money and everything else. I don't think I want to get married and everything else. Now, if you want to find a woman, and I should have joined your show yesterday, it's almost like you're better off getting married to a woman who's in her 50s and don't have children and never been
Oh
married.
God.
I mean, because, you know, it now you won't be able to have children, but hell, what do you, I
Oh
mean,
God.
because that means that she's desperate and everything else and all that, and she's willing, to lower her standards and everything else. That's when a woman is at the point right now that I got to settle down and everything else. I need a man in my life and everything else. So, um, it's very hard to find the right woman in this day and age unless she is single, over 40 or 50 years old, and have no children and everything else. Because these ladies, they listen to a lot of these TikTok, ladies who sit up there talking about, I was once married for 10 years, 15 years, and now look at, man, right now I got my money and everything else. I'm ready to retire and everything else. So I'm gonna land my plane. I'm gonna let UK Arsenal or
Yeah.
Corey Thompson to go ahead and
Well, I think it's
go ahead.
my turn actually. I'm gonna jump in.
Oh, Inspired Truth.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, you know what?
Okay.
I was wondering if I left somebody off that list, and it was you. So go ahead, and then we'll get UK in.
All right, so basically, I just wanted to. This is another kind of like warning to the brothers, really. I know that we're not going for it over here on this chat, but there's a lot of people that need to know about this. Like, you have to remember and keep in mind that women fight with words. Like, that is their arsenal. So when they're coming at you with a whole lot of the guilt and a whole lot of the shame and about, oh, you should trust me, and oh, but my security, and if you were a real man, you'd be concerned with my security, put my name on this, put my name on that, all of that stuff is really just their arsenal and their tactics of fighting. And then when you acquiesce to it, then you get paid back. And what you get paid back with is contempt. They get tangibles, like you'll sign off tangibles, but your reward for signing off those tangibles is contempt. Like you actually get punished for that because you're displaying weakness. Like you actually given away leverage. And since you've given away leverage, then you have to get punished for it. So that's basically what I want to just kind of like throw out there for the people, because there's uninitiated out there that need to know this.
Okay. Now I'm gonna say too. I totally disagree with Champ Car for Life is going, because if you're gonna get married to a 40-year-old woman, I understand that that's your second or third wife, but if that's your first wife, you're looking for a family. You're not really gonna have one with a 40-year-old woman, so that's not really gonna happen
Well,
too
We
often.
well,
we don't
listen. I mean,
No,
like I
we
said,
don't.
I mean, if you're
no,
single, you
no,
know,
bro, this is what I'm saying. If a man is trying to have a family, usually we get married for those purposes. When you look at why men get married, if she's already 40, how am I expecting to have a family with her?
well, there's going to be men, but there's going to be men who don't want to have children. Believe it or not.
Those
But
men don't exist too much. My
Those are
thing
the
is that's so
minority.
minuscule that don't even, it's not even a statistical thing.
It doesn't. It
If
doesn't matter.
something ain't hitting 1 to 2%, it ain't even worth us worrying about them.
It doesn't make any sense to marry a 40-year-old woman. It just doesn't.
true.
I,
It just doesn't.
well, Arsenal, it's your time to have the flow anyway. So
Go ahead,
go ahead.
Arsenal.
You got
If
2
you're
minute
older
I
opening
mean,
than
I'm
30,
just
statement.
looking at it as
you
an
can marry a younger
option,
woman.
though.
Well, hold on now. Let Arsenal get his 2 minute opening statement, because I got Floyd Thompson that came up too behind him. So I
Yeah.
got to get him in as well. So go ahead,
So,
Arsenal.
so yeah. So even if you're in your 40, even if you're in your 40s or even 50, it makes sense to marry a 26-year-old woman, or you know what I mean, somebody under 25, and have children. You know what I mean? It don't make sense, because these 40-year-olds and 50-year-old women want the same thing as young women. They just don't want children, but they want somebody to provide for them. In
basically as a retirement. They just don't want to spend their money, basically. So
Okay.
to me,
I'm just
it
looking
just
at it as
makes
an
sense.
option, though.
Well, hold on. Well, you're an older guy though. That's the
Yeah.
thing. And the thing is, you've been married before, I believe. So as the first wife, the rules are gonna be different than the second wife. And that's what black men need to really understand. Screw all that marriage talk. First of all, see which wife you're talking about in the first place. You know. But Floyd Thompson has come up, and I gotta let him get his opening statement in. So Floyd, you got it, and then we can free flow from there. That should be everybody.
Hey, Roger, fellows. Long live the habitual line steppers. Yay, yay. Thanks for having me up today, Roger. My comment, I watched that clip a few times, and it put me in the mindset how, when they're going to a second marriage, neither one of them have any additional assets. Why does the woman want to take this man's house instead of just already having her own house from her being married before, if I'm understanding that correctly? And it made me think about my adventures in marriage land, the couple times I've been married, and I take a stance where any guy my age, close to 50, thinking about marriage, talk to some of the relatives again. Talk to some of the older relatives, not just really just talk to them. Invite them to go to somebody's premarital counseling so you can actually see if you're about to be hustled. So if the grandma's alive, maybe have grandma go to marriage counseling with you, mom, dad, grandfather. I mean, before, and then do her last, and then to let her know, like, hey, you're not worth being a wife. If I don't feel you have your tendencies are gonna tell me it's gonna be a bad financial decision. We may get along emotionally in some cases, but financially you're gonna bankrupt me. So I don't want to emotionally bankrupt myself as well. So we can't do this. That's the way I would leave it. In relation to this clip. But I'll land my plane there. And thanks for having me up, Raj.
Now I don't remember for sure if they mentioned did they mention the woman was married a second time? Because obviously it was the guy's. It wasn't his first marriage, I don't think, based on what they were saying. I don't remember if they said that about the woman or not. But see, this is my thing. As a woman, why you want your name on my stuff? The only thing I can get from that is you don't trust me. I have a house. You're my wife. You got access to the house. You get to come in the house when you want to. You get to leave the house when you want to. You literally got keys for this house. So what you need this house in your name for? If it ain't an issue about trust, what the heck is the issue about? And see,
Because
guys get caught up in that trust stuff, but you don't never look at you don't require the woman to trust you just as much as she telling you to trust her.
It's very
women,
simple. It's very
women,
simple. These women have the same dating strategy. They're gonna get with you or marry you. They're gonna drive you into poverty, and they're gonna move on to the next guy.
I
They
was
don't
gonna
ever
say
change.
what they want. That's exactly what they want.
Well, my thing, women who operate like that, see, that's where the marriage becomes a hustle. If every move I got made has to be putting you in position for a better divorce, that's like a red flag that she's just trying to turn the marriage into a hustle. And the thing is,
Roger,
hold on,
but
hold
that's
on, hold on. We as
marriage.
men, we feel guilty about them not being able to take advantage of us, which is stupid on our part. Never feel guilty because a woman's not in a good position to take advantage of you. Now, go ahead. What you were saying, Arsenal?
What I was saying
Arsenal.
is that's Western marriage, whether it's UK or US. Yeah, it is. It is exactly that. To swindle you and take everything. So when they get bored of you or they find somebody younger, better in bed or whatever, they leave and they take. So this is just the reality of it. Women make money being in relationship. Yeah, men make
Yeah.
single.
The thing though is everybody ain't the same, and you got to be able to tell the differences amongst different people. Why is the woman making a request to get her name on property that was acquired before she wasn't there? The thing is, look at the why. You don't need your name on it. You are literally married to the guy who owns it. That's like saying my daddy owned the Chicago Bulls, but I can't get tickets. My daddy owned the team. I'm gonna get tickets. It just is what it is. The only way for me not to get tickets, I got to have such an issue with my dad that he gonna stop me from being able to come to the game. Which, I got to really be messing up for my dad to go that far. He owned the Bulls. I'm getting tickets. It just come with the territory. I'm in the process. The same way, if I own the Bulls and some woman married me, of course she can go to the games. Why she need her name on it though?
She needs the name on the property because it's a case of that. If it's in your, what it is security and trust. What it is that if it's in your name and not hers, if it's in her name, if you cheat, she got leverage over you.
The thing is, if she trusts me, what you need your name on it for? You're my wife. Everybody knows you my wife. If you go to the Bulls game and I own the Bulls, everybody know you the wife's owner. What are they gonna say to you? Nothing.
Yeah, if you're with me, you get the lifestyle. If you're not with me, you don't get the lifestyle.
So at the end of the day, the thing is why she need her name on it. Everybody know that's his house.
She wants control. She wants the control that you have.
There we go. Control.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. That's a woman.
Control.
That's a woman trying to change the marriage into a hustle. And my thing is, that's where guys need to understand what's really going on. The fact that they put this out there, y'all, is for people to accept the nonsense. That's literally why they putting this out. So guys will accept this nonsense. Well, yeah, I guess, if it's my wife, I want my wife to be okay. And I'm not saying don't make your wife okay, but at the end of the day, she didn't help you build it. Why would you ever consider going through the actual trouble to even legally get her name on something that she didn't help you acquire in the first place? She was supposed to be helping you acquire stuff since you was a man, which happens, at least in our country, at 18. So everything she missed out from your 18th birthday, she was a disservice to you because she should have been there. So now the thing is, do you punish her for being late or do you reward her for being late?
Well, the thing is this: if you are in a home, regardless of what happens, but it depends on the state. If you go to the upper room and her name is not on the house, but you all were legally married, then it goes to probate, and they handle it from there. Unlike the state of Georgia, the great state of Georgia, it goes to the children, and if they don't want to give it to the wife, you go to probate court, and they look at the laws of Georgia, and the kids still get it. So,
what about a will?
The thing is, those should be problems she has because she showed up late. If you didn't go through the trouble of putting her name on it, that's her problem for being late.
That's the thing.
I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is, black men, we don't seem to have no expectation that we supposed to get stuff too. When you was 18, you was supposed to get a wife. The reason you don't have one because you couldn't find nobody worthy of it. If you finally do get one, which is fine, that's a good thing. I'm not mad at nobody for doing it, but there should be a penalty she got to pay for not being there when you was 18. You are just as worthy as she is. You got to be there at 18 to get the full clip. And if you wasn't there, that's your fault. I don't care why you wasn't there. I just know you wasn't there. I'm not fixing that for you.
Yeah, like I said, when it comes to all of that, with the paperwork and everything, hey, if I had it already, I had it before I met you, I'm going to have it when you're gone. Because I'm going to divorce you. I'm not going to wait for you to get upset and lawyer up on me and mess my whole life up. No.
Well, my thing, I'm not even saying in the context that a person may get a divorce, which could happen. I'm not going to say it couldn't happen. But my thing is right, is wrong is wrong. Why would I take on the responsibility of trying to fix someone's life about stuff that happened to them before they was with me and will not affect me in any negative way? Yes. Now I understand you marry a woman You got to help her pay her bills off if she owe, because that actually affects you. But if it don't affect me, why would I be concerned with it? I'm not putting your mama through counseling. Let's say your mama crazy. I'm not paying for your mama to go to counseling. My thing, we can just cut her off. That's free. I ain't gonna pay for your daddy to go through counseling. We can just
Ruthless
cut him
nice
off.
guy.
That's free. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to fix your whole life. I'm just trying to make sure you good enough to be my wife. That's it. I don't owe you nothing. And I think this is a concept because men, and we got to start admitting to ourselves what we do wrong. We as black men, we act like we owe black women stuff that we've never had anything to do with.
Well,
this is just another example of it.
Well, here in my state, they kind of made a little compromise a couple of years ago with the common law situation where they don't recognize it. But if you're from another state, they do they'll acknowledge it and everything else. And plus, with the law, with the rules, with probate rules and everything else, even if the person did not sign over the house, with the dying spouse, they still get to keep. They still get to keep it.
Now, this wasn't nothing about no dying spouse. This was just a woman who had the idea because she heard some people on a radio show. I assume it was. And some lady said, well, if you get married, you should have your name on the stuff. And she wanted to see if that was going to work out for her in real life. And it didn't work out. It hasn't worked out so far.
Yeah.
So this ain't about somebody dying. The thing is, she wasn't in the marriage when he purchased the home. Why should he care that she wasn't there when he purchased the home? I don't know his life. I know he went to work. I know he did whatever he had to do in order to get in position to buy that home. And I know she wasn't there for it. So I don't see no reason for him to feel guilty that she showed up late. She should have been there. She should have helped him get that house.
It's been real. I had a great time discussing this topic with y'all, but I'm about to head out. So salute to all y'all, man, and I hope y'all have a great day. I got some business to handle.
You too, man.
You too.
Alrighty.
Yeah. And my thing is, men cannot feel guilty that some woman showed up in the time frame where she should have been there. If I purchased the home at any particular point, I mean, because you can purchase a home and it, just depend on what money you got and how you can pay for it and all that type of stuff. It can happen at 25, it can happen at 30, it can happen at 45. Whatever age you're at, why should you care that she wasn't there doing the work with you? She ain't putting in on it. It's that simple. And that whole thing about, if she helps pay for it, you got the rent when you don't own. She wasn't cheated. She get to be there, don't she? She paying rent.
Right, I'm going to ask you guys on the panel a question. Is Trump not changing those marriage laws so that women who didn't contribute only get a certain amount?
A president can't change anything outside of stuff that's allowed in executive orders. He can't. A president can't change law. He can spearhead the thought process, but he can't change laws.
Roger, that's one of the things he said he would do.
No, he didn't. Trump didn't say that.
A president doesn't have the ability to do it, so it doesn't make a difference whether he said it or not. He don't have the ability.
Because see, that's state law. That has the federal law. Yes, that's state law. Divorces are not federal. Divorces are state.
And even when it comes to federal, there's a legal process in this country. A president cannot change the law. He doesn't have the ability to do so.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't care if somebody say I'm gonna change the law. Great promise to get elected if you buy into it, but I already know he ain't got the ability to do it.
Exactly.
So I ain't worried about somebody talking about stuff they don't have the ability to do. It's like somebody telling me they can arrest me that's not a cop.
Hang on a minute, Roger. He does have executive orders he can use.
That's what I said. He can do executive orders. Executive orders are not laws. That's a different thing. That's about how paperwork is gonna go and things gonna be processed. It's not about changing no laws. Now there's certain things you can do with executive orders to impede people in certain kind of ways, but you can't change no actual law. So the thing is, we don't need to worry about it.
And executive orders have a shelf life.
Yeah. Well, my thing is, let's not waste time discussing something that a person can't actually do.
Right.
Because I don't see no point in that. Now, when it comes down to it, he can have his presidential influence if he wants somebody to change the law, but he don't have the power to do it. That's just how the country sets stuff up, so we would not have a king. Okay. Now, the thing is, as black men, we have to make decisions about what we believe is right for us. I don't care what state you in. She ain't getting her name on mine because she wasn't there to help me get it. And that's just that simple at the end of the day. I don't care how nobody feel about it. She showed up late. You was supposed to be ready for me to marry when I was 18. If you didn't find me, that's your fault. You was hiding because you was with some other niggas, so I couldn't find you. Because I'm not finna marry a woman who's already in a relationship with some other man. So you was with somebody else, which means I couldn't find you. That's your fault. I didn't tell you to date anybody else. You should have been ready when I was ready. Now the thing is, as men, should we really hold any type of guilt that some woman wasn't ready when you was 18?
Nope.
You can't change the past, so why worry about it?
Exactly. You just keep on chucking forward.
Now, if she want to get in on some future stuff, she can help you build some future stuff. Women can do that.
Young men, let me give the young men advice. Do what Hakimi did. Put all your assets, including anything you buy for her, clothes, whatever, in your mum's name.
No, I'm not gonna reckon. Own your own stuff. If you gonna own it, you gonna own it.
Well,
The thing is,
Roger, get a little of this. That was I'm gonna say.
no. Hold on. This is my thing. Men gonna have to stop hiding at some point. You're gonna have to stop hiding at some point. If you're gonna marry a woman and you serious about marriage, you should just tell her straight up. We're going into this with the understanding that when this marriage comes to the end, one of us will be dead. If it's not that serious to her, why marry her?
Roger, but what that guy did was pretty smart and very slick. Because
But that was the soccer player, right?
Yeah, that
He
was
hid behind a
play,
woman.
but that was a slick move though on his
Right.
part. Though.
Okay, hold on. I'm going someplace with this. Now he was a soccer player from where?
Sorry, PSG.
PSG, Paris Saint-Germain.
So he wasn't from the United States, right?
Right. He wasn't from the
Anybody
U.S.
familiar with something called straw purchase?
Oh Lord.
There you go. So try that in this country if you want to. It ain't gonna work.
Hey, worked overseas for that, brother.
It'll work, outside the country, yeah. In the United States, you'll be like that guy Glum on Gulliver's Travels. For those that are old enough to remember, it'll never work.
Well, the thing is,
are you trying to tell me that you can't
hold on.
in America? You cannot put assets in your name.
Hold on. This is what the issue is. I'm not going to promote something where black men got to be cowards. That's that simple at the end of the day.
Thank you.
I ain't doing that. I don't need to be nobody's coward. I got it without you. You don't get none. It's that simple. Do you still want to get married? If the answer is no, who cares? What good are you going to be to me if the answer is no? So I don't care. Let's be realistic about this stuff, y'all. If that's a problem for you and you don't want to get married, what good would you be to me anyway?
There you go. It's cut, dry, simple. If you just actually look at it, look at the facts. It's cut and dry, simple.
Yeah, the thing is, black men got to learn to want something. You gotta be willing to keep something. You got to be willing to fight for what's yours and all that type of stuff. And you got to be willing to tell women, I don't even care about your feelings, because this ain't nothing but a feeling situation.
Yeah,
you want to present some feelings to you, so you'll make a move that's not in your best interest.
Yeah, it's like I was talking with my sister, and she was like, "Well, you think you might get married again?" I'm like, "I don't even think about it." Really? I'm like, I'm 62 years old. Why? Well, you can have companionship. I'm like, I could go play bingo and have companionship. The hell wrong with you?
Well, the thing is, women gonna always look at the stuff differently than us.
I know they are.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying
No. I'm just saying that they are. They
but I'm saying I'm
feel
not
their way
disagreeing
through
with
life.
you. But my thing is, as men, when are we gonna simply look at what's best for us? If you're not my wife, when I got it, I don't care nothing about what you got to say after the fact. You're marrying a man who has it. You're supposed to already have considered that. If you haven't considered that, you're stupid at the end of the day.
Exactly.
That,
I mean, how hard is that to understand?
and men trying to adjust to some woman's life before you ain't doing nothing but you signing up to be in the trick bag. And then as men, we'll get mad at the women because we sign up to be in the trick bag. You can't be mad at her for what you did. That doesn't make sense. You know, that's why I have an issue anytime somebody's trying to talk about the dating market as if it ain't what we made it. We the ones taking the women out. We the ones paying for the dates. The dating market is exactly what men make it. If you're not using it properly, that's your fault. It's not her.
There you go.
Okay. The dinner whore. Yeah, she can attempt to be a dinner whore. You ain't gonna be a dinner whore on my dime. Cause you won't get no more out of me than I want to give you. And that's it. So you can dinner whore yourself straight to IHOP. Why? Because I like pancakes. Do I need to explain
Hey,
that to
hey,
somebody?
I ate IHOP this morning. Ain't nothing wrong with IHOP.
My thing is any place I pick is great. And but see, a lot of men who paying for stuff don't see that about their own money. Whatever I choose to spend my money on was a good move because it worked out for me at that moment. Point blank. Period. If it don't quote unquote work out for me, I'm the one that got to pay the penalty on it. So you going where I want you to go, or you just stay at home. I don't care if anybody ever takes you out. You can't compare me to no other man because I don't care what another man doing for you. If you're not with
Yeah,
me, it's none of my business.
yeah. I mean, because I know some that they could be sitting pretty doing nothing all day, but whatever comes to mind, they're still going like working and this and that when they should have retired. Why? To feed their shopping addiction.
Oh, that's terrible
Hey,
right there, but that's
So
real.
what's
Mike,
this woman gonna do? You already got your life stable, budgeted to pay for everything, for all of the comforts. She comes in employed. Her first thought is, so see, I don't have to pay rent anymore. So I could use that money to buy shit.
I mean, that's realistic. Let's just keep it real. That's just a very
That,
realistic
that
thought
that's how it
process.
go. I've
Yeah.
been around the block a time of 13. I know how it go.
No, I'm not saying you don't. I ain't saying you
I know,
don't.
I know. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there for the fellas. You never know who listening.
Yeah. So my thing, this is women trying to convince men to keep them on an equal playing field, regardless of them not doing equal work. Now, I'm a very
Exactly.
fair-minded person, so I've never cared about somebody who didn't work and didn't get nothing. Because to me, the only way to be fair is for the people who do the work to get the stuff. To me, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you don't want to do the work, you don't get the rewards of the people who do the work, and I'm totally good with that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you want the rewards if you want the rewards of a UPS driver, you need to either be a UPS driver or you need to be married to one. And that's it. Everybody else who don't get those rewards, I'm good with that. If you want the
Mm-hmm.
rewards of being a doctor, you need to become a doctor or be married to one. And if you can't get them rewards outside of that, I don't care because I think that's fair. And that's
Yeah.
real talk. You know? But big Big Kev done came up. Ain't seen you in a while. Good to see you back. So let me go ahead and let you get the mic.
Yeah, thanks for having me up, Roger. Overall, man, I think what everyone's pretty much learned here is that there's nothing wrong with like marriage or monogamy or anything like that. The problem is nowadays that most people that call themselves being pro marriage or pro monogamy or anti polygamy or anti sex work or whatnot, they're totally full of shit. Like the vast majority of them, totally full of shit. All right. Because as you guys are saying, there's a certain burden of performance. There's a certain level of expectations that comes with, being married, especially being married in a monogamous relationship. And you notice how whenever we start talking about that burden of performance for both parties, not just the man, most of these people that call themselves being pro-marriage or pro-monogamy and all this, they believe in love and all this shit. They basically start acting like Patrick Tam. They start backpedaling. They start saying, "Oh, that ain't fair," because, like you said, they want men who, or should I say, it's their idea of a good man means you're supposed to just work essentially for free and not expect anything in return. I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that. At the end of the day, incentives influence behavior. And the reason why marriage is declining is because we've actively destroyed the incentives for people to get married, especially men. So, if you want more people to get married, change the incentives, provide better incentives, or otherwise just deal with the consequences. You're not going to get mad at a barber for saying, "Hey, it costs X amount of dollars," for a lineup. It's either you pay the barber and get the lineup, or you go without a lineup. It's that simple. A good man is the same thing. If you want these men to be, good, hardworking, self-sacrificing, whatnot, there's a cost to it. And even for the people who want to try to hide behind religion, even the Bible says stuff like, honor your father and your mother, wives submit to your husband, and that a good worker deserves their wages. So why are we even, this shouldn't even be a discussion in the first place.
The Bible says honor your mother and father, and your days will be longer.
Well, I'm gonna say it needs to be a discussion because unfortunately, the world doesn't get that far out of whack. It shouldn't have to be a discussion. Is a better phrase. It shouldn't have to be, but it obviously needs to be. And my thing is, as men, we have to make a decision on what women deserve. We're their leaders; they're not ours. Does a woman deserve my efforts before I met her? That's a clean cut question. And when you think about that, the only reasonable answer is no. She doesn't deserve the benefit off all these extra things because she's with me now. Now, the thing is, she'll benefit off some things that were done before you met her because that's just how life is. If you've been exercising and taking care of yourself, she'll get that benefit because that's how life is. But if I'm purchasing stuff, and you ain't help me do squat, man, I ain't worried about what you're gonna have to deal with. It's gonna be all right. And that's why I say if I get married at this point, I ain't got nothing but a bad deal. Because the woman's gonna come in the door understanding that nothing I gain at this point is really gonna be for you. It's gonna be for people I'm passing it down to. And now she gonna look at me and say, "Well, you ain't got no kids yourself. That don't mean you getting anything." My daddy's generations will continue to move on, and if I don't have no kids, they'll move on and they'll get the stuff because they still part of my father's lineage at the end of the day, and I care about his lineage. I don't care about yours. We ain't had no kids together. There's nothing for me to care about.
Yep, that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But guys, we talk about marriage, but really, statistically, there's no point.
It wasn't just about marriage. It was about what a woman was proposing to happen in her marriage. That's what I'm saying. Y'all got to, if y'all gonna join the panel, y'all got to watch the link so y'all understand, part of what's going on. There's not a link every day, but the time there are links, the link is usually the most important part of the show. Because the thing is, we're looking at a man who's already married and how he's responding to what some woman done tried to introduce into the marriage.
Yeah, but guys, today's women are not. Today's women.
No. Look, this is what y'all gonna have to understand about my show. When I do a subject matter, I talk about the subject matter. I'm not just talking randomly every day because it gets boring. I can't have a boring show. So y'all can get stuff out that y'all want to get out. If you have a suggestion of what's something you want me to cover, suggest that to me because everything has to be in the context. I do not want a boring show. I got the greatest show on social media and I have to keep it that way. Okay. So I'm not saying you wrong on what you was about to say. The thing is, I want to keep stuff in relationship to the topic of a show so the shows can be fire. If you want a topic, Give it to me, and I'll probably put it on 9 times out of 10. I don't deny most topics, but the thing is, we got to be on topic from a general standpoint.
No, but Roger, it does relate because the title is a marriage hustle. Yeah.
Okay,
And
but go ahead.
So my point was back in the days.
Well, matter of fact, before you say it, this will be your closing statement because we about to get up out of here. So this will be your closing statement, and then I'm gonna let a few other folks get a closing statement, and we gone, y'all. So go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So back in the day, like when our mums and dads got married and grands or whatever, right? Grandma and grandpa, that was love. Today, women are not marrying for love. It's purely financial benefit.
And all I'm gonna say to that is, you marry for what you want to, and don't worry about what she's marrying for. If you marry for what you want to, more than likely you'll get the right woman. The problem is we worry about what they want instead of worry about what we want. That leads to a lot of bad marriages. All right, Champ Car for life. Any last words you want to give before we get out of here? Champ Car for life going once. Champ Car for life going twice. Y'all, he in the bathroom. Y'all know how it go. He in the bathroom.
He got a concussion anyway. He came up talking crazy.
Okay, Leonard. Any last comments from you?
Yeah, well, I'm like this here. If I was meant to be married when I was in the army, they would have issued me a wife.
Damn.
Okay. All right, Kevin 3905. You got
Mic check. Can you hear me? Mic check. Can you hear me?
We hear you.
Okay. fellas, man. Roger's 100% right as usual. He tell us this every day, 5 times a week. He's right 100%. Bro, we got to focus on what it is that we're getting out of these marriages because we're gonna do right by these wives once we marry them anyway. You just got to make sure you're gonna pick the right wife, and I'm gonna leave y'all with that.
All right. Excuse me. Tunnel runner. Any last words you want to give?
I was the one to say I got my wife working hard. She's trying to earn her keep and protect yourself at all times, brothers.
Hey, I appreciate that. And shout out to Mrs. Tunnel Runner Roy now. Shout out to her. She always doing a fine job. She always leave Tunnel Runner in a good position to talk about the great job she's doing. And I'm gonna say shout out to Inspired Truth Broadcast, who hit me with $5 on the Cash App. He said, good convo. Shout out to the panel. Hey, appreciate you big time, my brother. Appreciate you big time, y'all. And y'all, we gonna do some things. I may do it tomorrow because the show we were gonna do tomorrow, y'all, is now being postponed. I know y'all don't know what it is, but it's gonna be a great show when we do it. But it did get postponed last night for certain reasons. So we might discuss tomorrow, possibly, should a man get married? But I may want to wait for Friday to do that though. But I think that's a good topic, and it is worthy of its own show. Okay, real talk. But I'm gonna say, y'all, get married for why you want to get married. If the woman doesn't fit why you want to get married, stay away from that. It's just that simple. Y'all have a good and wonderful rest of y'all day. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right. And I'm out.